the great Little Richard. It's all part of Rock and Roll Piano Week, which we were just saying could have been Rock and Roll Sax Week.
They go together.
It is Bennington, the Bennington show today. Hashtag Bennington if you're twittering out some tweets or tweeting out your twits.
As we know you love to do.
Just consider us your new office mates. Just having some fun around here.
That's what we like to do at the office. We do things a little differently around here.
Wednesday's Rock and Roll Piano Day. So today's Little Richard. Help yourself. Oh, by the way, this is Gail. She's the office gossip. You're gonna get.
Stop it. I see you've met the class clown.
Oh, cut it out. And there's Joe. He's the hater with an 8. He's the one who makes everybody annoyed all the time. Oh, I forgot. Here's Chris. He's the office meth dealer. He's always got crystal meth for everybody.
What do you guys need?
He's your guy. Talk to him if you need it.
He hasn't slept in weeks.
Who needs it?
Yeah. But see how quick I'd kill myself if I worked in an office. You don't have to be crazy to work here, but it sure helps. Am I right? All right, let's get you down to HR. They're going to want to get, they're going to want to get all your inside information.
You're going to be poked and prodded down there. Get used to it.
Yeah. We're not here to blow smoke up your ass because that'd be weird. I don't even know where that saying came from.
I don't know, but I hate it.
Yeah, when people go, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, I'm like, don't. That's a good idea. Don't.
No one's trying to do that.
Yeah, I don't even think it's good for you. Doctor, I have smoke up my ass.
What is that analogy even trying to say? Like, you know how in life, when people blow smoke up your ass, I'm not doing something like that.
When I talk to Don, I'm going to blow some smoke up his ass and see if everything works out that way. Man, I'm already looking at the Twitter tweets. I can't imagine getting through the day without an earful of vitamin B. Bennington. That's from Melissa Ann. That's really, really nice.
Clever.
I like that. And you're listening to Vitamin B. Jonathan says, Jonesing for some Bennington show. Hashtag Bennington. Hashtag a terrible spelling of Gail Ann that doesn't even make any sense.
Is it the AAA?
No, it's GAYALANN. That's actually a new one.
That's brand new.
Then hashtag Bulldog Strong. Hashtag Will Hicks. Bang a Midget. Hashtag Mini Centaur.
Sounds adorable.
Really?
All the cool kids are listening to hashtag Bennington right now. Tune in, buddies. That's from Ed. Simply Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
Dustin says hashtag Bennington is better than lunch. Thanks for the midday boost. We're really like one of those like nice soccer mom shows.
Mm-hmm.
Quincy says patiently waiting outside Raw Dog Comedy Club for hashtag Bennington to open their doors. Well, that's sweet. Fox says, yesterday's on-demand last segment isn't Louis J. Gomez, it's Joe List from the day before. Somebody else says the same thing. And then hashtag Hicks fail.
That'll be a Joey Jojo fail.
It was rectified shortly after.
But it was still a fail.
Yes, it was.
Do you guys know about it?
I found out last night.
Not until early this morning, but it was put up around 7 a.m. today.
Okay, not until about... You found out last night.
And because he loaded it, I let him know.
Did you think it'd get by me?
No, I didn't.
What a way to start my day, though. So you wait until I'm on the air to hear from listeners. Dodger says, what in the HE double hockey sticks is Scrapple? Hashtag Bennington. Never seen it on the best coast. All right, just because you rhyme with best doesn't make you the best. By the way, California is like a hot plate this week. It is the hottest place ever. Scrapple is what could be called the other gray beet. It's just it's a lovely sausage.
It's a sausage-like product.
It's like a sausage.
Mm-hmm. Comes in loaf form.
And then you slice those loaves, fries it with some eggs.
So good. And don't be afraid to throw something sweet on there, too. A maple syrup. A jelly, a jam.
See, a lot of people get mad at that. It's always considered ketchup is the number one thing.
I always
syrup does pretty well for itself too.
I do maple syrup every time.
But you never put syrup on a sausage. That would work out just as good.
I do sometimes.
I know. I think one on a hot dog might be nice.
Oh, okay.
Kara would say Ron would throw the sink out of a window if he saw our Monday motivational emails. One day we all had to say we're awesome out loud. Kara,
I hope that came in email form.
Yeah.
As you read this email, please say, I'm awesome out loud. Nope.
Kara, do me a favor and send me that every Monday because I want to be motivated too.
Yeah, please. That could help us.
Yeah.
I always like the chick at the office who always says, you are a rock star. Thanks so much.
Oh, my God. You're just like a rock star because you went and printed up a bunch of things for us. This is the office rock star. What?
Oh, you freshen the coffee? You are a rock star. Okay.
Yeah, because you know how Mick Jagger freshens coffee for everybody.
That's what he does.
Yeah. This next song, I'm going to freshen up everybody's coffee. And then I'm going to go out and make copies for everyone. Yes. Oh, and did Chris think we forgot his birthday? Here's a cake shaped like a centaur.
Wow, you remember.
Cue out, man. Yeah, I hate when people say somebody's like a rock star.
It's the worst.
Sabian used to drop that shit on everybody all the time. He's a rock star, this guy. He ended up getting a replay on. Really? That's what rock stars do.
Okay.
I think a real rock star would light this fucking place on fire while the song Breathless was playing in the background. If I'm going to hell, I'm going there playing a piano. I wanted to bring that back. Yeah, I couldn't work in a place like that. I'd rather be on a chain gang than in a place where I had to act like I was pumped up with everybody.
Yeah, there's always those, like a couple phrases that get reused over and over. Like the first time I worked in an office and I like meet someone and they're like, yeah, we're just going to back burner that. And then you realize like everyone keeps saying that. And we're like, okay,
Right.
So before I came in here, no one was using that on a daily basis. And everyone here is like, yeah, that we're going to back burner. But this is going to be the priority. And the other thing, back burner. Also, I noticed they shorten availability to avail. We're going to double back check his avail on that. Never heard that before.
I'm a real person. So.
See, this is weird for me because I'm a real human.
By the way, the back burner's still cooking. I don't know whether you ever cooked before. But,
oh no, we turned the back burner off.
Huh? Why? It's a burner.
We're using that as a cooling place.
We're gonna broil that.
I'm just gonna put that on the floor. We're gonna floor that. Not use it. We're gonna trash can it. We'll put it in the shitter and shit can it.
Shit can that.
Well, that's how, like, when the term like outside of the box that was never supposed to be used constantly like that. Why don't you think outside the box? Because there's madness out there? I mean, the box is reality, correct? That's the reality that we live in. It would be like if a football coach said, we're going to think outside the box and put a dog in the game. No one's ever tried it before. We think it's going to lead us to the championship.
It might be too far outside the box.
We're going to get outside the atmosphere with this one, where there's nothing but cold space.
I like to stay inside the box, but outside of the inner packaging.
This is always this has happened at every office I've ever worked at. Everyone thinks that the one dateable person is the receptionist.
She is cute.
And everyone hangs around the reception desk. And then that woman cannot answer phones properly or greet people because some fucking doofus that doesn't know how to meet women is down there trying to show her magic tricks.
Meanwhile, all the women in the office are just like, she does nothing. She gets nothing done.
And everybody thinks she's such hot tits. I guess he's down there with hot tits today, isn't it? I fucking seriously. I honestly think if I was the president, I'd say, I'm going to leave an ice pick on every fucking cubicle desk in case those people need to stab themselves. Here's what kills me about working here. We feel like this isn't this kind of place, right? Until you put out the fucking free ice cream day and you see how many fucking weird desk jobs of people we've never seen before. I've gone to the Christmas party, right? And I'll go 15 minutes before I'll see a Sway or a Cousin Brucey. And it's weird how all of us will be drawn together like, hey, you're on the air, dude. Like me. Who the fuck are these people?
Where did they come from? Where do they keep them all day?
And they're just slamming drinks and eating bad sushi and
dancing,
introducing you to their husbands. And it's just so fucking nuts. We've got more of those jobs than most places have, and yet you never see them. I know fucking programmers who don't show up on the floor where the microphones are.
Weird. Where do they keep them? A floor up?
On 37, there's like a giant.
You never been up to 37?
I've dabbled, but I don't really. It's an unknown land. First of all, the bathrooms are backwards. It really freaks me out.
That's weird.
I walked into the men's room once. It really freaked me out, and just screamed into an empty men's room. No!
Urinals!
No!
Urinals!
I don't belong here.
I can't pee standing up like you people. You really are thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Good news, everybody. And don't ask me how I did it, but I found Rosie O'Donnell's kid.
Oh, yes.
Here, #hero.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You're incredible.
She had run away to the shore where she was enjoying herself.
I actually run away to the shore every summer.
Every chance I get.
Weird to do it in August. That's how they figure it out.
Well, she used social media. She put out, hey, I can't find my kid for a week. And everybody went, oh, she's fucking burning it. She's fine.
She's okay.
She's good. She doesn't want to come home until Monday. She had to come home immediately.
You young lady, get home.
And look, and like right away, people are like, yeah, some mom Rosie is. Look, she has a 17-year-old kid. 17-year-old kids are going to do all kinds of stuff like that.
That's what they do. It's not even, can you even call it running away when you're like probably 6 months away from being a legal adult?
No, that's going away. She went away to have fun. Well, I remember, Obama's kept his kids on the DL, but Bush's girls were just like college age.
Oh, yeah.
So you would see them, in some party pictures. And then it goes to show, he's the president of the United States. He's got the fucking nuke briefcase, right? Next to him at all time. And yet he still can't stop these kids from having weird pictures of themselves taken. But in the meantime, they're two responsible, lovely young women now. So what's the big fucking deal that they partied up a little bit? Don't act like you didn't too.
Doesn't represent you later in life.
It doesn't represent anything. It's nuts. It's nuts to go, well, what kind of parent is, hey, how can he run a country if he can't run his kids? Because no one can.
No one can.
No one can. That's the whole point of having kids.
I mean, they even tried to do that with Clinton, with his brother. Remember that? They were just like, what kind of situation? They're like, everybody has a crazy brother.
Oh, Roger Clinton?
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Well, if you even go back, Carter's brother was fucking crazier. Carter's brother was fucking, his name was Billy. He came out with Billy the beer, just named after himself when no one ever did, like local beers like that. But he was basically Billy the Cable Guy. I mean, he was just sitting there with a beer belly, and, he'd pop one off and like, the blacks are the ones that started it. Everybody would be taking pictures. It's like, no, and Carter would just say, well, that's my fucking brother, dude. You have a brother?
Yeah, I think we're way past the day and age where you can say someone's family represents you. Like, if you have bad people in your family, you must come from bad.
Obama has kept his kids so far out of the limelight that when I see them now, I don't even recognize them. Someone will say, no, that's Obama's kids. I'm like, oh, those little kids that were at the convention?
Yeah.
I remember them. They're like 6 foot tall now.
I know. They grew up. Yeah, it felt like they grew up really fast, but it's only because you don't see them.
Well, that's what's always weird about like a TV show, right? Well, they'll be like the dad, mom, and 3 kids. And then the next season, the dad and mom look exactly the same. But the kids are like this. Hey, can I go out now?
What happened to you?
We're going to play in the backyard. Like, you're going to have to up his storyline because he's a frightening man living in the house now. You got fucking 2 kids out of a Truman Capote fucking nonfiction novel living with you. All kinds of stories up on the iBang. And I like this one. This club owner is complaining that Tinder is ruining the club business because now people no longer need to go meet at clubs. Fucking Tinder.
That's just, maybe his bars just blow, because if you meet someone on Tinder, you're probably going to go to a bar to talk to them in real life.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think
I thought you were supposed to meet them at the corner and then blow each other. I thought that was the point of that.
No, that's Grindr.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
I get those confused.
Yeah.
They cut right to the chase.
Yeah. I'm on Ashley Madison, and all my information's been given out over the past week. So you think that he's lying that more people will use Tinder to pick up the bar business?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a way to find dates.
Do you guys have friends on Tinder?
Yeah, I have friends on
All
Tinder.
my friends are on Tinder.
Yeah.
All my single friends are on Tinder.
And some married friends. Does it work? Does Tinder work for them?
I know like 1 or 2 people who are like in a long-term relationship that began
Really?
through Tinder.
I'm actually sitting here thinking, what is a more embarrassing idea to one day tell your kids that you met in a bar or that you met on Tinder? I swiped your mom on Tinder and I met her at this fucking dog park and leaned her over and railed her right there in front of a couple animals. Joe, I saw you nodding along. You're a Tinder boy?
I used to be a Tinder boy, yeah. But all my roommates are Tinder boys. All my friends are Tinder gals and girls, you know.
Gals and girls.
Gals
Both.
and girls.
Yeah.
Love at first swipe is what they say.
Yeah. That's so
Beautiful.
great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So cute.
But it works for them. Most of them, I don't know anyone who's gotten a relationship out of it.
Oh, so you didn't meet Freak Nasty?
I didn't meet Freak Nasty on Tinder.
But
I
they
used
all
to
got
be
their
on it.
fucks on.
They all got their fucks on.
Good.
That's what the kids call it.
Well, they should. They have every reason to.
Yeah, it's unbelievably popular in Brooklyn, too, because everyone's so close and there's so many bars. You might as well meet up.
Okay. And so then you also use Tinder while you're sitting in a bar.
Yeah.
Like, who else here is Tindering?
Who is in this bar?
Who's
Yeah.
looking for some?
Is trying
All
to
of
get
us.
a date. Yeah, I think that the bars are still getting business then.
Yeah, this guy just had sour grapes. He's just pissed. He's just blaming, he's just lashing out at this app.
Hey, Captain Dick, what's up, buddy?
Good day, Bennington.
Hey.
Hey, Ron, I thought you had a great point about Rosie about, maybe she's not a bad parent, 17-year-old or 17-year-old, but I think she was maybe calling her daughter out just to embarrass her on social media. More like, oh, really? You're going to run away? Well, boom, you're not taking medication. How about that out there?
Well, I don't know. Like, a lot of times you do freak as a parent, too, and you do crazy shit. I remember when we couldn't reach Gail, this was always the thing. We would just let her aunts know. We're like, hey, it's a couple days since we've heard from Gail. And then they would go fucking crazy and just call her and call her and call her.
Yes.
And
They would release the hounds on me.
Yeah, the Italian ants. And they would, I saw this happen once. So they call up, they go, hey, how's everything going? Oh, good. How's Gail doing? And I go, I haven't heard from her in a couple of days. What? And I go, yeah, it's been a couple of days since we heard her mom couldn't reach her. Okay, I'll call you back.
The wolf.
I'm on it.
And they would fucking just go crazy. I think that's where it takes a village. You know what I mean? Let the ants go crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure Rosie was, legitimately weirded out that, it's been a couple of days that she heard from her kid and said, fuck it, you playing this game with me? Deal with the planet Earth.
Now Earth's looking for you.
Yeah. Now I'm going to have every lesbian on the East Coast combing the beaches until they find you.
And they will find you.
Yeah.
They have a special set of skills.
I always think that that's the funniest shit. But I brought this up before because I grew up in a everybody has a cell phone thing.
Mm-hmm.
That, when we were kids, a lot of times our parents wouldn't hear for us for days. Like if we went away to the beach or something, our parents might not hear from us for a week, and nobody got fucking weirded out.
Right. That was just the way things were. Like, hope they're all right. Hope they made it there.
Well, they just assumed if they didn't hear from the cops that it was okay. For some reason, we now think I haven't heard from somebody, something's bad. We used to think I haven't heard from anyone, so I guess everything's okay. Is this a different mindset?
Well, I was thinking it's that weird thing if you're hanging out with somebody and then you split and they're going to go home and then you go home. You're like, hey, call me when you get home. I just want to know that you got in. Even though this person goes out all the time and you don't say every night, call me when you get home.
That happens like from if relatives visit you too. And then you're just like, yeah, they said they went out, but I guess they're okay. And you're like, normally I have no idea where they are for months at a time. It isn't so much that you haven't heard from each other, but seeing and hearing from each other is what fucks you up.
Yeah, then you're like, I should be keeping tabs on this.
I haven't heard from him. I better call the police.
Yep.
How many times do you think that cops get a call like she's a half an hour late and she never has done this before? Then they just gonna say, look, let's give it 24 more hours.
At least.
Yeah. It's not like her not to come directly home. Where is she? I don't know, dude.
I have no leads on this right now.
I've got all my best men on it. She's probably on Tinder and in a bar.
Simultaneously.
But you'll say to people, call me or check in when you get home.
Oh, anytime I go out to dinner with a friend or like we go out, doesn't even matter if it's like late. You're like, hey, just let me know. I'll see you to your cab and then you just let me know when you get in the house. Inside the house, not outside.
I like to do this with people. Everything's okay, but, and then just not have any bad news for them. No, I already told you everything is okay.
Everything's okay, but look, I miss you.
Joe is safe. Dan is safe. But earlier we had a problem.
What? What was it?
Dan couldn't get in touch with Joe.
Okay.
So it's okay now, though.
Oh.
What?
Oh, good.
He was underground the whole time.
Phone died.
Bill in Philly.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys, I'm sure you all did it back in the day before cell phones, when you went out of town and your parents wanted to know you got somewhere safe, you used to make a collect call using a fake name or something, and they just wouldn't accept the charges, and that was like the call to just alert them that you got where you were going.
Yeah. Everybody did that because, phone bills were such a huge thing in those days, and a collect call was very expensive, particularly a long distance collect call.
That was a thing that used to say, like, not long distance. Okay, this is long distance. I'm going to hang up.
Yeah, so I would call and be like, this is a collect call from Ronnie. Got here in Wildwood. Everything's okay? Was that your last name? Yeah, that's my whole last name. Say it back to me so I know exactly what you're saying. So everyone would know when you got that call to not say yes, and that would mean you didn't die on the way there. Kevin in San Francisco.
What's going on, Ronnie B?
Yeah.
Ronnie B, I was 17, 1986. Went to Hawaii for 2 weeks. I was 17 years old. I called my parents the last day before I came back, and they were flipping out, man. They didn't know where I was.
Where were you? Summer Love?
In Hawaii.
Yeah, you went to Hawaii.
When I was 17.
Yeah, it was just a different. I mean, it's almost ridiculous to compare one to the other You know, like what it was like then compared to what it is now. Because people have, as a society, decided to think differently. You know?
Yeah.
We're just different that way. And people, I've known people to get upset if someone hasn't updated their Facebook or something in a couple days. They'll be like, have you heard from this person? Because I noticed they're not doing their Facebook updates. And I didn't know whether, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're telling me. I don't go on Facebook. So do you think I'm dead?
Where are you?
Their social media has been silent.
It weirds people out when someone's social media.
The rule for me when I was in high school was that I had to call if I changed boroughs. If you're leaving the borough, then you need to tell me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Switching boroughs is a big deal. So anyway, that's I don't know how we got that from fucking Tinder to that, but it's big with people now.
Oh yeah, big time.
I read a thing that more people meet like through those dating applications than any other way now, like in regular life.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like even the people that I know who were coming out of a relationship, they're not out of it very long when they're like, so I'm gonna, sign up for Tinder. I just signed up and I'm like, do you want to wait maybe to see if you meet like a real person in life? Or
No,
like that's how it's done. It's just like, that's how you are now on the market.
But didn't Tinder used to just be for sex and now it's for meeting first? Now it's become, J-date.
I think, originally it was just for like hookups, just like these people around, let's just hook up.
You're not even supposed to say anything to each other. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it is, but I think it's also on the decline right now. The new app is Bumble, which is like Tinder, only
with bees.
Yeah, with bees.
No, really, what is it?
Sexy.
Girls have complete control of it, so you swipe left and right for people you want, but the woman has to be the first one to send a message. And you get like redos.
That's the way it is anyway.
Yeah, but this way...
It's just up to them to ignore. First of all, most women are going to ignore anyone who tries to pick them up.
But what it did, all the hottest of tail is on Bumble versus Tinder because, they're not being harassed by 17 guys.
First of all, I wouldn't want to go out with you just for the hottest of tail.
Yes.
I use that. It's worked for me.
Here's the thing for you to understand now, because first of all, this is fucking carny, dude. It's carny. Ashley Madison, they put out all the names of the fucking dudes, and who's got time to look? But according to the hackers, 90 to 95% of everyone on this cheating site, Ashley Madison, is a dude. And the fucking chicks things are fake and made up, and they're not real chicks on there anyway. It's just that they're saying Ashley Madison put up these fake things so that people would join and thinking they were going to meet other people that wanted to fuck.
So it's made up. There's probably like a few real women on Ashley Madison.
Yes. That's what the hackers are saying. And not that we can always trust hackers.
I trust them.
Now, by the way, would you care if somebody's name was exposed, like if it was your neighbor on Ashley Madison? Because I think they did spots on our show, so I think Fez is signed up on there. That's how ridiculous it is. You know what I mean? Like he had to go and look and see what the site was about before he did anything.
No, I don't think I would. What's the most you're going to get out of it? Like, ooh, interesting.
Oh.
Scandalous.
That person.
Oh, wow.
Fucks.
Well, this guy sent dick pics to a bot. Wasn't even a real woman.
Yeah, I don't even think I can't imagine that anyone would give a shit. Like if someone told me that Marco Rubio was on there, he wouldn't lose my vote just for being on Ashley Madison.
You still vote for him.
Not that I am voting for him. I'm voting for Trump.
Of course, but it's not going to be Ashley Madison that stops you.
I'm voting for Trump based on that golf cap that he wore the other day that said "Make America Great."
Look good.
Just like a regular guy.
And actually, did you see the video of Mark Rubio throwing footballs around? It's up on the iBang of him.
First of all, this is a beautiful setup. I don't know why you're not on the fucking news throwing footballs around. There's one football. Now, what is your problem with this Rubio pass?
Because he nails a small child directly in the head.
All right, let me see this.
All right, here's the video.
All right, so you see this as he nailing a small child in the head.
Yeah, he drills this kid right in the forehead.
All right, do you know what drills is in a pass? This is the lightest fucking pass, and it goes through this unathletic young man's hands and hits him on the head.
He's just a boy.
The kid drops. It's great.
The kid drops because, kids end every. He didn't get knocked down by a football. This is the way kids end every fucking play that they have, by leaving their feet. I cannot imagine that anyone would think that he overthrew this ball at this child.
I mean, he doesn't even seem too upset about it.
No,
He's just like, shake it off, kids.
This is the way people play in the backyard. This is a missed pass. Now, is it a perfect spiral? No. It's a wrist pass of about 7 feet to a kid who doesn't catch it.
It's a wobbly pass for sure.
This is one of those things on the internet where someone acts like it's a big deal and everyone else goes along with it. But this takes place in every backyard, every day, when you're trying to teach little kids how to catch.
They don't know how to stay in front of it.
Well, look, Pan Hands puts the fucking hands on the ball and fucking bring it in.
It's always funny to see a kid trying really hard. Really hard to catch the ball.
I coached fucking Little League baseball. Those kids would dive constantly, and I had to say, it does you no good to dive. Stay on your fucking pins so you can throw it. But they act like it would be real if he just fired this thing at a thing that a child couldn't catch. But he barely limp wrist this pass. It's up on the iBang. But I would put this, if I was doing a show on cable news, I'd be putting this under my much ado about nothing section because it's fake.
The kid really drops, though. It's not fake in that sense. I mean, the
he
kid
dives. It's a blooper at best.
Have you ever played catch with a kid before?
No.
They try to turn everything into a fucking circus catch.
In their mind, this is like the biggest thing that's ever happened. So they're always throwing themselves on the ground or winding up the pitch. You gotta wind that arm up.
All right. Somebody wrote this. I wish Trump would had a hat that said #1 pussy licker. Man, that fucking bit goes back a long way. That was our friend Solera.
Sounds like a pretty cool hat.
When she was a little kid, she finally let this kid in the neighborhood go down on her. She lived on the Lower East Side. And then the next day, the kid comes walking down the street with a hat that said #1 pussy licker.
Get that made somewhere?
Yeah, he did. It was done with sparkles. And she told that story. I had fucking tears coming out of my eyes. Now, that was a true story. Unlike this Rubio fucking slam job. It's up on the iBang if you want to see the pictures. I say...
You be the judge.
Yeah. I say you can see that you're in suburbia. These kind of things happen on a daily basis. I find it weirder that he and the guy next to him are kind of wearing matching shirts.
And pants. It's the same outfit.
Twinsies. I think it's a pretty good sign that not one person goes running for the kid. Like, clearly everyone around is like,
well,
all right.
Just go back and watch. You can slow it down. You'll see the kid leave his feet here. He's already just looking. Why are you leaving your feet, son? If you even were able to catch the ball, you want to keep running with it. Stop acting like you're fucking evil Knievels. I'm going to go so far. There's no way this would have even made America's Funniest Home Videos, or AFV, as they call it now. They stopped calling it America's Funniest Home Videos.
It was more youthful that way.
Yeah.
AFV.
Kids love
talk
letters.
to the kids. Yeah.
I don't know. It could have made it if you get one of those like funny sound effects. You do some voices.
All right,
come on, throw it to me. Come on.
Yeah, you put the fucking chicken dance music on, and I'll go for anything. I'll fucking laugh at the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald if that happens. I say this is just one of those things that they act like is a story because people are running for president. But anyone who's a dad has seen his kid fucking take a ball off the head.
And yet, you know that any time the media gets behind saying something is bad, that's all it takes. Once they get that wheel rolling, everyone's like, yeah, did you see what he did to that kid? You don't even actually end up seeing the clip. Everyone's just talking about it.
He
hates children.
David just sent us a thing. I am twittering you a tweet on Twitter so you know that I'm okay. So David's okay.
Oh,
we
good.
don't have
I was
to
so
worry about
worried.
God, tried paging him, didn't get anything back.
Oh, Jesus. This is a bizarre story. Starbucks says they want to start selling drinks and have happy hours.
They're going to start rolling this out this week.
I can't imagine that Tom Waits would be desperate enough to drink happy hour at a Starbucks.
I would check it out. I would definitely go to Starbucks happy hour. I don't drink their coffee. I'm not a particular fan of it, but I would like to see what's going on at the happy hour at Starbucks. I think it could be fun.
Could you be a regular there?
That's my place.
Yeah, I could. You know what? I could be if the price was right and it was okay atmosphere.
Hold
yeah,
on. Is the price right for coffee?
It's not.
And is it an okay atmosphere?
It's not.
If the price was right and it was an okay atmosphere, it would be called a dive bar and not Starbucks.
The idea of seeing like your coworker directly after work just bellied up at Starbucks.
Yeah, where somebody else is getting a coffee because they're off to do stuff. Starbucks, that thing of people taking their laptops and sitting there all day long, it fucking disgusts me.
It always just seems like a show, too. You're like, if you work from home, if you're like a writer or journalist, you're working on your novel, like, you can do that in your house. You can get your Starbucks.
First of all, no one is working on a novel because they don't sell anymore, because people don't read anything longer than a tweet. So if you're blogging, you're really no different than anyone on Twitter. You're just doing it longer.
Right.
No, it's fucking busy and loud in there. You can't get anything done in a Starbucks.
And yet you want to go there to drink.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not going to bring a laptop. I'm just go there, have a couple cocktails, maybe a glass of wine, whatever.
I think it's wine.
Last time you ordered you lie with these fucking stories.
What?
You have never ordered a glass of wine, I'm going to guess, in your life.
All right,
a man who said he's not even eating dinner, right?
Yeah.
He's just sitting with a glass of wine. I'm willing to say that doesn't fucking happen except for in the gay community.
Okay,
If I was out at a bar and my friend just said, I'll have a glass of white wine, he would never fucking be left alone for the rest of his life.
I guess it happens maybe at restaurant bars. Like if there's food around, maybe that's less weird.
Drinking wine instead of fucking beer or a cocktail.
I think a certain type of man, like a dandy man, perhaps. And I don't mean gay. I mean like
on a date.
Maybe on a date. Sure.
I might guess on a date because you're trying to tell this chick that you are someone other than you are.
Right.
But two fucking dudes go out, or four dudes, and they just order a glass of wine each. I'm going to say planet Earth doesn't fucking happen. Okay, wine country.
Right.
And there's a tasting, maybe. But you're not looking at anywhere in the United States that a fucking guy will say, "What is it? I'll just bring me a white wine right now, and I'll fucking sit here and watch the game."
I think if I was on perhaps a Tinder date and met somebody at a bar, a man, and they ordered a wine, I would find it very peculiar.
Austin just fell out, but call back. I want to talk that over because I was watching Hard Knocks last night too. I cannot imagine that this happens ever. And I know Chris Stanley's never done it because I've been out with him many times and seen him. He and Dave will line up different beverages from an ice water, beer, and a cocktail at the same time. And never is there a glass of fucking wine sitting there. A guy might drink wine at home with his chick.
Right.
He's not going to do it on his own. Maybe if he's in a fucking movie, he might do it. But not a real person.
Or homeless.
Well, the almost would be different. That's when you're ordering that fucking wine that's really an alcohol. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very high alcohol content.
Bum
And
wine.
it's cheap.
Fortified wine is what the technical name for it is. You don't want to drink anything that's fortified.
Fortified with booze.
If I was fucking working in a bar and a guy comes up and said, "What kind of wines do you have?" I go, "I don't know where our girl menu is. Do you want to drink that here at the bar or take it into the ladies' room with you?" That would be
Good
my funny
one.
joke.
That's a great one.
Yeah, because women are weaker in their second class.
Oh, yeah, definitely. and that's where we drink our wine anyway.
But do you know guys that drink wine?
I do know guys that drink wine, but I don't know if they would ever drink wine at a bar. Like, I don't think that they would do that.
Yeah,
They'd order it with dinner. They'd split a bottle and at dinner.
Order at dinner is like having a Coca-Cola. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're having a refreshing beverage that fits your food.
That just paired.
Now, if you're drinking wine with your chick at night, that's no big deal. It's like if that's just you guys having a snack.
Mm-hmm, that's private.
4 guys going out. Let me just say this. Have you ever seen guys who are bowling and having a glass of wine?
No.
Have you ever seen guys shooting pool and having a glass of wine?
No.
Mm-hmm. It may exist in Italy, but not in this country.
Could you imagine you're out fucking fishing with your buddies and you're like, you guys heading straight home? You want to stop and get a glass of wine? It doesn't fucking happen. And yet, Chris Stanley just lied to us moments ago and said that he would like to go to Starbucks for a glass of wine, even though he doesn't go to Starbucks now.
No, but I think it's a nice novelty that they serve alcohol. Now, I saw that they serve wine, so thought maybe, it could happen, but probably not.
I
imagine you'd go to Orange Julius if you thought you could get a drink.
Yeah, I do like Orange Julius's anyway, regardless. I think they're pretty good.
Can I get this spiked, please?
Yeah, there's some vodka in there. There's no adult beverage.
I just don't believe people. I think people and you know what? I actually think this. Everybody might try it once, but you're never going to do it again. It's just not going to happen that way.
That's not going to be your hangout spot.
Yeah, it can't. It's too well lit.
Yeah, drinking in a well-lit area is kind of bizarre. Doesn't make sense. Certainly not for evening drinking. No.
Greg wrote this. Stop me if you all heard this one. A centaur walks into a Starbucks during happy hours and orders #shed juice.
Oh, John, I forgot about it.
What vintage is this shed juice?
Why do you love shed juice so much?
It's my shit. It's my shed.
Sarah says that Chris Stanley orders wine the same way he answers emails.
I always answer emails.
Our pad data now says stars bucks.
It's fixed.
Scott in Canada.
Hey, Ron. I don't know about wine, but I would go to Starbucks happy hour if they served shed juice.
Yeah. You just missed that joke. It would have been perfect, though, but Sarah did it online. Sorry about that.
Still get cred, though.
Jimmy in New York.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Yeah.
And Gail, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. My wife always tries to get me to drink wine, and I just don't do it. I just picture my father calling me a pussy.
Well, we all do that, no matter what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. I know I do. Man up. Huh?
Look, if you want to sit around and waste your life drinking wine, that's up to you. I said there's a nice hard liquor back there for you. For me, with Stanley, the thing that I love is that people will lie to make a point. I would definitely go to Starbucks and drink wine. No, you wouldn't. You don't go there now. And they have nice Italian soda.
They're opening evenings at Starbucks. One in Brooklyn. You can stop by this week.
I will stop by. Is there one in Manhattan? I'll go there.
Why can't you go to Brooklyn?
I'm on the island already. I don't want to take the train all the way down to Brooklyn. but I'll go.
It's minutes away.
All right, fine. Then I'll be at the Brooklyn Starbucks this week.
And I'd like to see
What
a picture of you.
I'll be there Thursday night. I'll be at the Brooklyn Starbucks.
What time?
I'll say 7:30 p.m. I'll be at the Brooklyn Starbucks.
I love this. He's phoning into the old Fez place where he gets bullied into stupid things to, again, back himself up. And then later it'll be like, yeah, I got a shirt from the Starbucks if we want to talk about it. And we never will. No, that was the other day's stupid show. And that show blew anyway. Oh, and I'm trying to pass around the Marco Rubio thing and act like it's funny. Here's Greg. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know about Starbucks, but one of my regular foursome drinks White Zinfandel on the golf course every time we go.
Is that when he's driving off the ladies' tees? Say that.
Now,
Ladies are the worst.
Dude, they get to move up further. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Some guys will fucking play off the ladies' tees. And it's cheating because, more upper body strength.
Are there kids' tees that we could use?
Yeah, those are ladies' tees.
Oh.
I saw a video of a little girl. She's 11, gets a hole-in-one, and because of that, she gets a puppy. Her dad. It looks like the dad is some kind of fucking slave driver with his children.
Right.
And he told them if they ever got a hole-in-one, they got a puppy. And they're actually saying, and this made me feel sad for them, who pays for it, us or you? We'll pay our money to get it. What 11-year-old is saying, do I have to use my money for a puppy?
Bless their heart.
Yeah. Well, you just say, well, I'll just put it out with the other 8 dogs in the back on that fucking dirty thing we used to call a yard. That dirt mound that's out there. We've got to Spider wrote, did Hicks just ask if there was a Starbucks in Madison?
Is that what you said?
I don't believe so.
We were laughing at him before the show because he was saying Montreal.
Montreal.
I thought I was saying it correctly. Montreal.
When we were up in Montreal.
It was Montreal. That's how you were saying it. But yesterday we were talking about the new SNL host they've already announced.
That's
right. Miley Cyrus, Amy Schumer.
And then also Tracy Morgan be the third guest host.
Dan the Man has put together his list of greatest Tracy Morgan characters from SNL. And I'm seriously wondering who number 3 could be.
We know 1 and 2.
Yeah, that goes without saying. My list would be 2. There would be 2 in my list. But we'll talk about that when we get back. It's the Bennington Show.
This is Bennington on Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.
Tito's handmade vodka. It's America's original craft vodka. Gail, you know what year Tito Beverage had the idea to do this?
Yeah, I do, actually. 1995. You told me that before.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to stump you this time.
Nope.
Yeah, in 95, he had that idea to build his own micro distillery and to incorporate the boutique winery concept into the spirits industry.
Yeah, you tell me this all the time, like almost every single day.
I want to make sure that you know it, though. Because he acquired the first legal permit to distill in what state?
Texas.
Correct. And he put all of his money into it. He racked up 19 credit cards to build his own copper pot stills. And what other piece of equipment?
That one I don't remember.
Condensers.
You know a lot about Tito.
I love Tito Beverage.
Are you guys having a very dull affair that no one else knows about?
I don't believe so.
No.
If you love him, Chris, you got to sell it. Throw the copy out and talk from your heart. That's what we, the listener, want to know.
Tito Beverage means everything to me because of his story of how he was able to succeed in the face of all these obstacles.
You know, you're basically just doing the read.
Am I?
From your heart, what does it mean to you?
Yeah,
what do you see in him?
In Tito or
no,
Stanley?
Chris.
I know he has a passion in his life, and that's Tito.
It is. Tito Beverage and Tito's Vodka is my passion. I love him. I love his play. I love his product. I love all of it.
I mean, the kid loves him. He's obsessed.
He sounds like he's got a gun to his head.
There's no gun to my head.
I know the way that you talk, and you don't pause like this.
I don't? Because Tito Beverage actually signed a bottle of Tito's Vodka for me, and I still have it to this day.
All right, so that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that was good.
Right?
I didn't know that. Of all the things you've told me.
Is that amazing? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
He signed it, and Chris has kept it at his home.
Sealed.
See,
Never. I will never touch it.
That's
It's an heirloom.
the kind of stuff I want to hear. I mean, I know you're crazy about Tito. I know you're crazy about the vodka.
I would give him the idea. I would give Tito this idea. Sign every bottle.
That's a great idea.
Just sitting there
No.
all day.
I will.
Like, seriously. Like you're an old ball player just signing all day long.
Chris, will you feel less special about your bottle?
I would feel very much less special. But I still love it, though. Because I was probably the first that he signed the bottle to.
There's those pauses. Are you picking up the weird pause thing?
You know what? I think he gets so flustered and excited when he talks about Tito. He can't help it.
So yeah, that's sitting in my liquor cabinet, a.k.a. a shelf in my apartment. I look at it sometimes. I think about the day Tito came in here.
See? He means this.
I believe.
Now you're
yeah.
actually saying something.
Yeah. Because that kind of changed my life. Because I don't keep anything like signed or I never asked for anything to get signed, but this guy gave me this bottle of vodka signed.
The horse is dead. Stop beating it. We got it. Signed bottle.
Yeah.
You kept it. It means something to you.
It means
That's
everything.
beautiful.
It means everything to me.
Go ahead, Buzzy.
Tito's handmade vodka is distilled 6 times from 100% corn and is naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, songs, and more. 40% alcohol by volume, handcrafted to be savored responsibly.
Bennington Show. Ron Bennington. Gail Bennington.
You.
Joey Jojo Bennington.
It is.
Dan Powell Bennington. And finally, Chris Stanley.
Oh. No Bennington. I'm out.
No Bennington.
No Bennington.
We'll see.
No Bennington.
We'll see if you can pronounce it correctly. That's
Bennington.
that's how you earn your name around here. Joe and Dan, they got it the hard way. They learned how to pronounce it.
What's been your all-time favorite Unmasked? We've done 120 of them now.
It's easy. For me, the best unmasked thus far.
Yeah.
Barry Crimmins and Bobcat Goldthwait. Easily.
They've got the big documentary, the award-winning documentary, Call Me Lucky, is out in theaters, but Barry Crimmins is online, and he's got a little special news for us. Barry, how are you, my friend?
I'm tremendous. How are you, Ron?
Well, I haven't seen you since the Unmasked, and I want to thank both you guys for coming and doing that after a long day. It was terrific.
Well, that was great. We'll talk about the rest of the tour. If you can see, you can actually watch the deterioration of a human being as we headed west.
Oh, did it get even worse?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
By the time I was on Rogan's podcast, I was just openly drinking, leaving the room to go to the men's room. See ya. It was just, forget it. Took a genuine Hollywood backstabbing that I can't talk about, but it certainly wasn't for Bob or anyone involved with the movie. Just an old dear friend of 36 years who just chose to knife me while I was out there.
No,
after giving 114 fucking rape interviews.
Yeah, right.
What's the better time?
So, what was the backstabbing about? If you don't even want to say the person's name, but
it was about a third person. Yeah. They could have told that person the truth or lied to me. No, I mean, he could have told me the truth or lied to this other person. And the choice was lie to the other person. And so I did the Keith Richards Memorial stagger down Sunset Boulevard.
Isn't it funny, seriously, of when every time, it seems like when good things happen, Like you have this movie out. There's still receipts to pay back to the universe somehow.
Sure.
Oh yeah. I thought I might have had a little something Banks, but
No.
fucking, what am I thinking? Hey, I got to talk to you about a couple of things here first. Okay. Yeah. First up, do you want to hold the announcement or you want to make it right away?
Oh, no, we can hold it. We're in no hurry.
Okay. First off, I have to say hello to everybody. Hello, Midday Rider. You there? The over-under on that bottle of vodka, 4 months. 4 months.
It's true. Seriously.
Come on. That thing is in such jeopardy. Every time Chris walks past it, he has more potential energy than the Niagara River. And Gail, the Palace coup is progressing well, I trust. Yeah.
I'm picking up on it, too.
Yeah, okay. All right.
It's all in place. Everything's rolling.
I think I'm slowly being poisoned.
Yeah.
It's my way.
By the way, with Chris Stanley now, at meetings, they're now starting to say, when you hit your Chris Stanley.
Oh.
I think I first started to Chris Stanley when I was 19.
It's terrible branding.
Yeah.
Now, concerning fathers and hitting their heads with balls, baseballs and stuff, my father bought me some new football shoes when I was in about the 5th grade and took me up to the field to throw me the ball and whatever, and he kept throwing me passes. And I said, "Dad, the shoes kind of hurt." And he said, "Well, you got to wear them in." And so I kept working out with him for like an hour, and then finally I take the shoe off, and it's completely full of blood. And he felt really bad about it.
Sure.
God bless him.
Well, shoes didn't have a lot of break to them in those days. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of give.
No, they didn't. They weren't killing kangaroos for shoes yet at that point. Also, concerning drinking wine.
Yeah.
Now, I occasionally will drink wine, and I covered this in my book. I wrote 1995 Drug Interaction, The Frugal Junkie's Best Friend. And I was in Detroit one night. My then girlfriend was an attorney, and she had some hearing up there. And I went up because the Yanks were in town, and friends of mine worked at JR, so I had seats right next to the press booth and at the old Tiger Stadium. It was great. Came back, had a few beers. I walk in the hotel, and there's no men there. And then after about 5 minutes, I realized, oh, wait, there's no women here. It was a transvestite convention. So I decided to go for the Drug Interaction. And I don't really drink booze, and there's reasons for that.
Sure.
Or anything that I would call Wolfman juice, and so I go, well, I'll have a big glass of Chardonnay, and then I'll have another beer. I walk in, I start drinking this glass of Chardonnay, and I look at it, and it has the biggest fucking lipstick marks on it. And I just at the bar going like, patooey, just give me a beer. So the bartender pours the beer in the glass, and I take another slug, and I put it down. It has another fucking giant. So there's that story. All brought on by the innovative and bright discussions on a Wednesday Bennington show.
Oh yeah. Cutting edge stuff. Edge stuff.
So now, next, I'm going to tell you that on December 29th, I used to do an annual year in review show in Boston. And one of the venues I would do it at was this great joint called Johnny D's. And Johnny D's, they're closing just because it's too much work, not because they've fallen into hard times or anything. They booked everybody great forever there. Tremendous music venue. And so I will be making, an appearance for that. I always did the year in review show the week between Christmas and New Year's, never New Year's Eve, because nobody wants to hear you say a fucking thing on New Year's Eve. So I would always do one of the other nights, and you'd always get great crowds because people are home with their families and they want to get away from them. So December 29th, I'll be at Johnny D's. We just agreed to that this morning. And
that's really cool.
A great classic venue. But the other thing now, just one prerequisite to this thing, I am not discussing Oscars, and I refuse to. Except for Bob. But concerning the film, there's such demand for it because of the great media we've received, in particular from you. every time you make a print, it costs a whole bunch of money. I think this is what I've gathered. And so there was such demand, and so many places wanted to exhibit the film that they decided that on Friday, August 21st, this Friday, it will be released in all major digital platforms.
Wow, very cool.
That's
It
so
will
great.
be released in all major on iTunes, on Amazon, on Vudu, which is VUDU, and all major digital platforms, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, there's just nothing.
It means a lot of people are going to see the movie soon. But it's also at the Somerville Theater in Boston this weekend, and I really suggest seeing it on the big screen because the cinematography is great.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful shots in that, but not everyone can get to those kind of theaters. And a lot of people asked us about it as well. So it's great that people in smaller towns away from the big cities can actually see the film now too.
Like me.
Yes, like you, seems like you live in the middle of some English forest.
Yeah, right. East Uncle Dad, New York, actually.
Oh, by the way, I saw this come up in the iBang, and you never brought it up to me. But you knew Ian Stewart when?
Oh yeah.
That is an amazing story.
Oh yeah.
First of all, one of the great players of all time.
Of course.
Played on all the Rolling Stones song tours, but basically founded the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
It was basically his idea. So,
but he didn't look Carnaby enough, or whatever.
Right, he didn't have the look that you're supposed to have.
So I spot him at the In Square Men's Bar one night, which is right around the corner from the Ding Home. And he's in town. He's, I think, at Fort Apache Studios, producing an album for George Thorogood.
When Thurgood was on the Rounder Records in the in the 70s.
Yeah. So I spot him. I ID him right away, and he goes, "Yeah, just keep it quiet." And I go, "Well, I got a joint across the street. You're welcome there anytime. What, you got music there?" I go, "No, we got comedy." He goes, "Comedy?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "Come on over. It's pretty cool." And just tell him I sent you. My name got anybody in at the Ding, and so this old British chap shows up at the door, and we let him in. And he pays for nothing, and so he starts watching the show, and he fucking loves it. And he comes in, like 3 or 4 times while he's in town. And he says to me, one of the last times he's there, he says, "I haven't been a part of anything, seen anything." I think he even said, "As seminal as this since I was since London in '64, '65.
Right.
That's so huge.
That's so cool.
At that point, I felt like we were on the right track.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's really funny, too, because I've had so many of those guys on the show before, and it doesn't matter who it is, like Ray Davies, whatever. You bring up London at that time, and they were all just so happy to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just to be together meant to them a lot more than the long career that came after.
Sure, and now I can completely relate to that.
Sure.
I mean, it was like, knowing that you're going to see Stephen Wright or whoever it is, like, on a regular basis rather than on special occasions, it was pretty, that was pretty great. And particularly when you're making your stones.
You brought up Stephen Wright. I was thinking about him the other day when I talked to Brian Regan. It's like the amount of comics that have gone out and played theaters like for years without a TV show or movie career. Right. It's a short list, man.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a very tiny list.
And he's right up on top of it. And he works when he wants to.
That's amazing.
And people will. He also works. He's also, this past year he was on Louis' show as a, executive advisor.
Right.
Thing. But mostly he, anytime he just says okay to his agent, Tim Sarkis, who's one of the greats in the business, and he says, "Yeah, Tim, I want to do a few," and he goes out and he does them, and makes a pant load of money.
Right, and then could take some time back.
And it goes back and wanders around and does his, he's an artist. He does a bunch of other stuff.
Well, here's the thing, too, about his stand-up. There's no opportunity to get momentum with that kind of set. You really do have to just count on the material working.
Oh, yeah.
Each step of the way, There's no amount of that, hey, I've got the crowd with me so I can, downshift a little bit.
Right. No, it's just, I mean, if you put the punch stats on him, he would throw an incredible number of jabs.
Yeah, just jabs, body, and then finally to the head. It's
all landed. All landed. 436 jabs, landed 99.6% of them, and they stopped the fight. Yeah.
Barry, you sound well rested. Are you over this media tour?
Yeah, a bit. I think I have the Bennington adrenaline going right now.
Yeah.
But it was, really, by the time I got to L.A., it was just, bring them in. Let's see how they try to get to the subject of rape. I don't want to give away anything. And then, but you're not rape, okay? Right. That's what, and, after about 112 of those, you're a little delirious. But we did a lot of good, and I got to speak about some more important issues and stuff, and just crap where I just kind of, where I talk about stuff like, don't come up to me joking about a pedophile getting raped in prison or whatever, because, I despise rape no matter when it happens, and if it's okay ever, then it's okay everywhere. It's going to keep happening, and things like that. So I got to, put forth a humane, sane, non-vengeance-based, but reality-based discussion of child abuse. And one of the things is, once someone's doing it after the age of, say, 21, I think they need to be segregated from children for the rest of their lives. I don't think they need to be treated brutally. I don't care if there's a golf course at their prison. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But and I don't want them treated cruelly. I don't want to confirm their MO on any level. And to be able to say that 114 times was an honor, or as often as possible was an honor. And, to promote, actual civilization, I think is a lot of what the movie's about, too.
Tell everybody again how they can see it now that it's rolling out all over the place.
It's on all major digital, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And Amazon, iTunes, it's got iTunes, Amazon, and Vudu, and all major digital platforms on Friday, August 21st. And so you can all now see Call Me Lucky, and from what they tell me, this is when it really, really takes off. And it's done great already.
Yeah, it's done terrific.
I think a lot of people are going to see it now who haven't had a chance to see it. And, false modesty aside, but mostly it isn't even about my own pride. Bobcat made a beautiful motion picture with a great crew, and, everybody did a tremendous job. And you know what? Everybody in the media has been great helping us promote it, and it's just been a terrific experience. And I think the movie's doing good because I've also picked up, let's just say my caseload has increased a bit.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you're front lines for a lot of people who've never talked about this kind of stuff before.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I paced too far away from the base phone here, and I'm now heading back.
Barry Crimmins, so good to talk to you, my friend. Stay in touch, all right?
Thank you. I love you guys, and have a great rest of the summer, and maybe I'll see you sometime this fall.
That'd be great. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Barry Crimmins, Call Me Lucky. So that's Friday, August 21st.
Yeah.
And we'll update this more as we get along. And but he said, if you're just hearing this for the first time, Bobcat Goldthwait has shot a documentary on Barry's life. That's pretty stunning, and it's funny, and it's moving, and it's there's there's just so many ways to look at this. I mean, you just hear Barry talk, and his life has been just a blast, which I think is the only thing that you ever. I always think about stuff that, you know, the reason people get into comedy and stuff. I really think it, even if they forget it along the way, the point was to have the funnest ride that you could possibly have. That Ian Stewart story for me is one of my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear Barry had an incredible life, and he's always surrounded himself with incredible people, you know?
Yeah, and it's just hitting its peak now, which is cool and great and everything that you want to have happen. So we'll keep you updated on that, but because you got to check out Call Me Lucky.
Yeah, you definitely do. It's a great film, and I love Barry.
Well, Barry's the only one who says the truth about you, which is great, that you're out to dethrone me.
Can't believe you figured me out.
Where did all this cash come from? It just fell out of my pocket?
It just fell out of your pocket.
Nice.
And I retrieved it. If I was against you, would I have given you this money back?
Chris just sees a couple of bills. He's like, nice. Money.
Nice.
Some greenbacks over there?
Yeah, you know what? It's like to showcase money in front of him. It's like if you suddenly pulled out a roll at some Mexican fucking dive bar somewhere. You're like, wait a minute, what did I do? What did I just bring on to myself?
Calling attention to yourself.
Dan the Pro Man's going to come in and talk Tracy Morgan with us. Come on in, Dan. And because Tracy, by the way, Tracy did an unmasked that was absolutely so much fun. He got in that accident. We were worried that, you know, it was brain damage. We still haven't really been told. I mean, his lawyer said there's some amount of brain damage done, but that's the kind of stuff that you say before you settle with Walmart.
Right, sure.
I mean, if you're going to get in an accident with anyone, have it be a major corporation and 100% their fault.
Yeah.
And they had even shown that the guy was driving these crazy hours and hadn't slept for 24 hours.
Right.
Just, so that's if you have to be in a horrible accident, make sure your family and you get paid for it.
Avoid the mom and pop shops.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to get run over by a guy who plays Bill's Fresh Fish.
I can't tell you how many times I've crashed into like a small bookstore and I've gotten pennies.
Independent bookstore, just a small, you know, most of it's secondhand, but some really fine people working there.
Why did it have to be Haslam's?
Nice Haslam's come back.
Mm-hmm. Does that place exist still?
Yeah, I think it's still there. Chris will start tapping without us even saying anything.
Good.
Dan, what are you doing during this show? Because you might become like the computer guy on Oprah's show.
Computer guy. I mean, right now I'm in the booth back there, but I'd happily be in here or wherever needed. Remember Luis Soho? He was a guy on the Yankees, like utility player. I could be the Luis Soho.
When I was a kid,
little second base, little left field.
Utility players were always my favorite of all time. And then when I played Dream Week baseball, Cookie Rojas was one of the coaches. It would mean nothing to anyone today.
I like the name, though.
But, he was a great Cuban ball player. And he had talked a lot about learning all the positions and being able to play all the positions. There's something about those Cuban dudes that they carry like this air of class with them, whatever they do. And they're like this their whole life. Ron, this is the way to use a fork. You just take it down, you scoop your food. It's like they're like at one moment they're teaching you baseball, and then the next thing is here's how you want to pull your socks up. Just showcase yourself. Everything in his life was done that way.
They really enjoy the finer things.
You can do that and be a first baseman. That's crazy.
Take it out of park and put it into drive, and just let yourself gently touch the gas, release the brake. Everything he's done was just instructional. So you're a Tracy Morgan guy, and you see him at the clubs all the time, right?
I love Tracy Morgan. I've only seen him live do stand-up a couple times, but he's one of the funniest.
Well, he's in the clubs a lot. Was, of course, before this happened, from being a guy who's been on 2 giant TV shows.
Yeah.
Well, you and I think that you remember this when you were young, Gail. When we first came to New York, we were out one night, and it was literally a Saturday night. I think we were at a theater or something in Midtown, but it was a night that Saturday Night Live was not on. It was an off week for them. So I got my chick with me and my 2 kids and everyone, they're young. And we're over at the ATM and we turn around and Tracy Morgan is just walking towards us. Like, it's not like we spotted Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
It's like, this is Tracy Morgan just walking up on us.
There was no one else on the street.
There was no one else around. And he's just and he goes like this to everybody. Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you. And we never said a word to him. And we're like, it's nice to meet you too, Tracy. And he's like, you're great, man. You have a beautiful family. Really. Keep an eye on that family. And it was just so funny. And then, when I did the Unmasked with him here, the green room was funny and surreal and nuts, and I had to appear in some pictures for a charity that somebody was asking him to do, and everything that he was saying. And at one moment he goes like this: Ron, I cannot do your show. I'm not one of the seminal comedians working today. And I go, Tracy, you are. And he goes, if you say I am, then I'm going to do this. But I honestly don't believe. And it was only me and him. And I'm like, wow, I am on 30 Rock. All I could think is, this is like a 30 Rock episode.
There's a connection there.
Yeah.
He's the guy that, I'm trying to think, maybe only like Bill Murray. Is there another guy who, in comedy, who so many people have like a Tracy Morgan story? It feels like everyone has their own Tracy story.
Because you're not going to be standing backstage with someone ready to do an interview and just hear, do you have any sharks? Huh? How?
I remember the first time I saw him do stand-up, I saw it with a friend. It was back in college. And I bet with my friend, I said, I'm going to guess like $20 under 2 minutes. He'll ask a girl in the audience if he'll say that he wants to get her pregnant.
Right.
And I won by a minute and 30 seconds.
You know what?
30 seconds in.
You know what's really funny about that, though? It gets a huge applause and laugh every time.
It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's beloved.
Get you pregnant.
Well, whose idea was it for him to do 30 Rock? Which, did it come from Tina?
I think it was Tina Fey who said.
Tina wrote it for him, yeah.
I think, and this was before, of course, Tracy's accident, but I forget, I guess she was on Seth Meyers' show or somebody, and she was talking about the time that they were all backstage when Jimmy Fallon did his first show, and they all went out and put the money down. So they're all lined up, all these things, and she hears all this laughter, and it's because Tracy Morgan is saying to each person he wants to see them pregnant, and she looks so tired. She was like, "Now you know how we know all that thing that he does, but to see that these people were just eating it up because it's all fresh to them." And she had a look on her face like somebody that had a brother that's always in trouble, what I mean? And couldn't get out of it. But everybody loves him, but he's different.
My favorite story that Tina Fey told about it was that one day there was this like really hot extra on the set, and everyone was kind of like lamely hitting on her, and then Tracy walks up to him and he's like, "Look at your fine self. You look like you could be married to one of the San Diego Padres."
That is nice.
That's gonna perk a girl's ears. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, actually,
that's a good approach.
Yeah. Well, it's an oddball team to pick out of that.
A team Tony Gwynn played for.
Yeah. Obviously, the Expos aren't around anymore, so you can't drop their name. By the way, Montreal going for another team. Oh,
yeah?
Yeah, I hope they get it. I wish they'd get the Nationals back. I hate seeing them in Washington. It just annoys me. All right, so you believe there are how many characters that Tracy Morgan has done?
I think there are 8 great characters that he's done. That he did in his time on SNL.
I had 2. Gail, you
I have
3. You have 3.
I have 3.
All right, so you go. Chris?
I have 3.
All right, so if we were to play Name That Tracy Morgan Character, I'd already be out. I would be done.
I have one that I love so much that he only did it like 2 or 3 times maybe, but it's one that I
hope it isn't the homeless guy.
The homeless guy. Oh, he's a 4 then, because that guy comes in 4th.
That was my 3rd.
Oh, yeah. Did you? I was at a taping when he did that character, and it was hard for me to sit there.
Really?
While that was happening, yeah.
I felt like it always goes over big.
Yeah, it was difficult. There's not it's quite a two-dimensional character.
But it was so good.
Is it?
I think it always went over so well. It's so bizarre.
I mean, it's a sketch, so I don't know how many of these sketch characters are like, wow, they're really complex and multi-layered and three-dimensional kind of thing. So it's a one-note kind of thing, but to me, that one was funny every time he did it.
And it's so surreal.
And after he kisses Kate Hudson, he's like,
That's what the one I was there for.
He's like, you just made me piss my pants.
Yeah, I agree. You changed it. It's fucking beautiful. You just made me piss my pants. I don't know, maybe because it's the homeless guy, and I know at the end of the sketch he's laying in the street, and that'll probably only last 6 months to a year before he dies. Probably keeps me from
loving it.
Really, yeah.
Never thought what happened after the sketch.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a downer.
But you never think what happens to the homeless people you stand over either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, I just 1,000 yards
That you
there.
bump smokes off of.
You didn't say that to them.
He does have a sewer of his very own that's bigger than most New York apartments.
Yeah.
He seems to love it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was your third. So we all know the first two. What was your fourth, Chris?
Right. So there was a sketch that he would do with Brewer where he was a character called Reggie Owens, and the sketch was Wong and Owens. And they were former porn stars trying to make it in a straight lifestyle, and they would go to like office. I remember two sketches. They would be in an office, and then they went to like a McDonald's, and they couldn't deal with regular life, so they thought everything was sexual innuendo, and they start taking their clothes off.
I don't remember this one.
So when they're in their office, they're like, all right, so just like lick these envelopes, and then Tracy starts like taking his shirt off and like licking the envelopes, and then Brewer's trying to use a pencil sharpener, but it's awfully similar to sex when you think about a pencil and a dick and compare those two.
Sure.
So the connection was right there.
I always looked forward to more Wong and Owens, but they never went back to it after the Office sketch.
But you got two, huh?
They got two, yeah.
All right.
I loved
All
it.
right, so that's your big four.
That's my big four, yeah.
So we all know what the first two are. By the way, all these are up. You even put the sketches themselves up on the iBang today. What else you got?
There was Big Bernard, which is a thing he only did once, and it was when Shaq hosted, and he plays Shaq's dad, who is still, even though he's much smaller than Shaq, he still really wants to enforce that he runs the show. And so when Shaq comes home late, he spanks him and sings him a lullaby and just lets him know that it's really Big Bernard who's in charge.
I completely forgot about that sketch.
And he's like, he's trying to tell him about like the birds and the bees, and he's like, listen, your mother, man, she's got a butt like a bag of wet clothes nowadays.
Oh, Big Bernard.
It was Big Bernard. One of the great fathers, I think, of history.
Eddie writes in, I hope Tracy Morgan is the next Colonel Sanders. Nothing gets weirder than that Colonel Sanders thing.
It's time to replace Norm. He's been doing it a day now.
Johnny Rock says, if another hashtag blackout hits NYC like 12 years ago today, hashtag Bennington would be our shining light.
It's beautiful.
That's sweet.
It actually hit the whole East Coast, if you remember. It wasn't just New York City this time. I can't believe that's 12 years ago, though.
Doesn't feel like 12 years.
No.
Kind of weird.
What did you do, Chris?
I was, let's see.
Starbucks for wine?
Not that time. I went to some of the bodegas and shoplifted alcohol in my neighborhood.
You shoplifted?
Yeah, I shoplifted.
Because they made a big deal about there being no crime that time.
Yeah, I know. I was a part
One
of
guy.
that.
There was one guy committing crime.
Bloomberg forgot he didn't keep tabs on Chris.
And to steal it from a local guy at a bodega,
know, not even
from a big corporation.
No, yeah, it was those bodegas are since closed down and new ones have opened.
I'm sure.
But yeah, that's what I did.
And then what did you do? Some purse snatching?
No, I didn't steal from anyone else besides the bodega.
Oh, that's terrible.
It really is bad.
Yeah. Now looking back at it, I felt pretty bad about it. But at the time, I was just looking to get a drink.
An addict's tale. Chris Stanley's story.
Especially a little shop. Just a little bodega on the corner.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep the lights on, Chris.
They couldn't keep the lights on. It's the problem.
How much did you steal?
Oh, a couple 6-packs probably.
You just carried them out yourself?
I mean, it was dark.
God.
Well, this is a productionless bit that we got going here today. But it is about the greatest characters that Tracy Morgan ever did.
Uncle Jemima is another one. So we all know Aunt Jemima. She's on syrup and stuff. But we always forget this woman was had a husband, a family of her very own. And
if this was the pitch meeting, you wouldn't get this sketch on.
So Uncle Jemima, he's selling his mash liquor. And, like his wife thinks that it's degrading for him to sell liquor to black people. But, as he says, black people aren't freaking out about flipping fucking flapjacks,
All right, let's say this, though. We know Tracy Morgan's going back.
Yes.
We know that he's going to do Brian Fellows.
Yep.
Of course.
We know that he's going to do Astronaut Jones.
Yep.
God willing.
Are any of these other ones going to make it?
It's possible.
Can I say one that I haven't said that I hope makes it is Dominican Lou, which was someone he would do on Weekend Update. They'd wheel him out, and he was a building superintendent in the Bronx who would be called in to give political expertise on stuff that, is really out of his realm of knowledge, just running a building in the Bronx.
All right, I'm now starting to believe that I've never seen Saturday Night Live, because most of these I do not remember at all.
He did that one like 5 times, 6 times.
I hope Wong and Owens comes back, but I don't know if Brewer's in town. We will be in town when Tracy is. I might be the only person who remembers Wong and Owens.
Dominican Lou, he talked about Clinton and Kenneth Starr. He talked about Gary Kasparov. He was very proud of Sammy Sosa for hitting all those home runs. And there's a lot of stuff in the news today that he could weigh in on.
Now, we all know what the top 2 is.
Right.
So who is your number 1 between those two, since everyone has the 2 favorites?
See, this is cheating when someone doesn't give a direct answer, because I love the song to Astronaut Jones the best.
Yes.
But then I love Brian Fellows more than Astronaut Jones.
Yes.
If there was some way of doing both, where maybe Brian Fellows guest starred on that show, I'd be happy.
There's nothing better than the song of Astronaut Jones.
Yeah, play a little bit. I know we don't like to do production during this. We keep it low, but I love to hear the Astronaut Jones song. Or not.
That's...
Come in, Earth. I've collected some space rocks and I've tested them. Over.
This isn't such a good song.
One thing I will say is that here on the planet Jupiter there is no life.
Sure,
no one is around. Over. Uh-oh. I hear something. Rocket. I'm taking a rocket. I'm packing my suitcase. And look out, moon, yeah, I'll rock it into outer space. Goodbye, human race. I'll be there soon. Blast off for fun and adventure. Yes, I said adventure. Collecting stones, yeah, it's my way. On the old space highway. That's why they all say, there goes Astronaut Jones. Hey!
Astronaut Jones.
All right, so you got to pick Brian Fellows or Astronaut Jones.
Well, I love the Astronaut Jones song and his ability to look somehow like a 4-year-old. I don't know why he looks like a sweet little child
Yeah,
when
he
he's
does.
doing that. But I'm gonna have to say Brian Fellows is my number 1. Because it's a fully realized character that for some reason wears lip gloss, and I'll still never understand why.
Joey Jojo, who you got?
I have Brian Fellows as well.
Yeah,
if I had to choose
it's a
between the
slam
two.
dunk. I wish they would just say we got Brian Fellows hosting and just stay out there the whole
But the
time.
Astronaut Jones thing, I feel like the sketch could end there, and I would be just as happy. I don't
Right.
need to see anything after that.
It's almost like with Joey Jojo songs. You're done by the time the song is over.
It's like a full meal. You don't need to eat more.
Exactly.
I still like to eat a little more after a full meal.
Dessert's
Yeah.
part of the meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I call my stuffing time. When we break here, this is all up on the iBang, the many, many characters, some forgotten, and I'm sure by Tracy Morgan as well. Tracy Morgan's SNL characters ranked from 1 to 2. We'll be right back. It's the Bennington Show.
This is Bennington on Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.
I'm at the Pizza Hut. I'm at the Taco Bell.
I'm at the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Is there something about that combination that just turns you off ever going, though? Like, even separately, it might be edible, but knowing it's at the same place?
That's a common one, but even more common in the city, they were doing the combination Taco Bell KFC.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that one was really weird to me.
Then they'll throw in an ice cream place in there, and they try to food court the smallest areas.
No.
And you go in there and you'll go, well, I see how small this is. Where are they frying chicken and cooking pizza? There doesn't look like enough room here.
Well, the thing that creeped me out about Taco Bell KFC is that you could see people like eating tacos with a side of mashed potatoes. It really freaked me out.
They're doing both at the same time.
Nothing stops you from ordering from both menus.
Hey, let's suppose you're stuck. There's nothing else open. What are you going to do? Taco Bell or Pizza Hut?
Taco Bell.
By the way, I forgot to bring this up. You're older than 15. So it
that makes it really difficult.
Harder. And I think 15 is like the perfect year that your stomach and system can handle it.
Oh yeah, in high school all we did was eat fast food.
Because it's cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
And then you could spend your money on other things.
Right.
It's like, a little lunch money, dollar menu. I'm going to be pocketing $5.
Yeah, that makes me feel good. How about bringing home some change, everyone? Oh, I forgot I made out of money. But that is true. Like, that's the end times. You know, it's probably the end times that you could really enjoy a donut for breakfast without feeling like you're paying for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do not feel good after that.
Yeah, and that time even gets closer and closer. So, like, in your 20s, you're like, I kind of feel bad. I don't know why. Was it that donut? In your 30s, you're like, I'm paying for this donut that I ate earlier. And when you're in your 40s, you actually feel bad while you're eating a donut.
Yeah.
You're like, this is making me really sick, this delicious thing.
This happened to me over the weekend. Somebody was eating a donut. I was like, I'll take a bite of a donut. I don't want a whole donut. And immediately I was like, get those away from me because I'm aware that it's not good, but I will continue to eat it. Like, I don't think this tastes good. And yet my body's like, fat, sugar. I need that. Like, give that to me.
This is great. Eric tells us he's connected to the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. Eric, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
So my wife is a manager of, it's actually it's actually a Pizza Hut and KFC, and she's like manager, assistant manager, and she won't even eat their food there because she sees how much sometimes little things get mixed up. And the one she manages at an airport, and we were flying out, and we stopped there to get something to drink, and she's like, you want a pizza? And I'm like, based on things you've told me, absolutely not.
But that might be true where everybody works anywhere.
Yeah,
but you don't want to know too much.
Ignorance is bliss.
Well, Gail just brought up about eating tacos and the mashed potatoes, and she said they get people all the time who will come up and order like a pizza and the KFC mashed potatoes or KFC coleslaw.
Yeah, because it's marijuana.
It's like,
That's marijuana making you do that. That's marijuana food. I will say this, at least with Pizza Hut, you're feeling like I'm biting into something that is pizza-like at the very least. I don't know if that's true of all fast food. Like, I am down to the point, like, if I went to one of the burger places, the lesser burger places.
Sure.
And I don't feel like naming them all, but you know the ones I'm talking about. And I'd go, this is something like a burger, but it's not.
It's not quite real burger.
And the same could be said of, like, Pizza Hut. You're like, if you've ever eaten pizza before, you know you're not eating pizza when you're eating Pizza Hut or Domino's or Avoid the Noid, whatever those are.
What is the last What is the last fast food place that you would walk into?
The last?
Like, put it at the very bottom. Like, you
Okay.
will not see me in there.
And not only would you not, I've never walked into one of these. I have no idea. I just assume this wouldn't work, but Long John Silver's. The idea of cheap fish, it fucking makes me so nervous. And I'm a seafood fan. But a Long John Silver's where they're just dropping some sort of, I'm going to guess, cod or bait fish of some type into this grease is, I can't do it.
Fish sticks. It's a place just filled with fish sticks.
I can't, I maybe it's even great for all I know. But my mind told me, even as a child, do not do that.
I have, same for me, not only would I not, I have never before. I don't know what goes on in an Arby's. I don't know what that's about. I know that I
Is that
see
the roast beef chain?
It's looks like a hot roast beef sandwich. I don't know anything about it. Anytime I see a commercial, I'm like, couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
Not going to believe that that's actual roast beast in there. And that's from the Grinch, by the way. When you say roast beast
Sure.
instead of roast beef, but
and who hash?
but I've kept it going ever since. All right, let's play that game. 866-766-0339. What is a fast food that you've never even let yourself try? 866-766-0339. I'm going to go to Joey Jojo first.
Hardee's. I've never been to a Hardee's. I never want to go into a Hardee's. It looks disgusting.
Hardee's is,
I always confuse Arby's and Hardee's, but that's
Yeah.
the one with the star. It's like a star and a smiley
Yeah, it's like a
face.
star, and then like Carl's Jr. is an off-brand or like their sister companies or something
yeah,
like
why
that.
wouldn't you want to do something that Carl's Jr. is attached to?
A Hardee's just seems like a more disgusting version of Carl's Jr.
I have eaten at a Hardee's, and I would not put it as one of the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I have, but that's not because I'm shunning it in any way. I don't think it's come up.
Do you remember the first fast food place that you ever went to in your life? Can you recall? Because I remember mine, and it's a very East Coast thing.
I think I cannot think it's anything other than McDonald's. Like, to me, if I think about being young, I think about being in McDonald's and eating.
For me, it was a place called Geno's, and they're coming back. And I stopped there not too long ago because I hadn't been there since I was a kid, and it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I went from what wasn't bad that I had to give it. It was pretty tasty.
And what is the food at Geno's?
Burgers and fries. Everybody
Nice.
goes to Geno's because Geno's is the place to go. It was a Baltimore Philly thing, I think, named after whatever was happening at the time. Gino Marchetti, I think, was a guy. Here is Eric in Kentucky.
Hey, Ronnie, first of all, I want to tell you, we have combination Long John Silver's and A&W root beer stands down here in Kentucky.
Now, I would always go out of my way to find an A&W.
I love an A&W.
Because you can get a nice root beer.
Oh, it's so the root beer float?
Yeah, it's great.
Because they use a soft serve ice cream.
Smart.
And it's so good.
Smart move.
Might be my number one.
Yeah. Eric, so what's a place you wouldn't even step into?
I'm a bit of a fast food and aficionado. First, I want to say I will eat anywhere for breakfast, but kind of along the same lines that yours, Ron, Long John, I've never been into a Captain D's. I just don't think I could do it.
I don't know what a Captain D's is.
I've never heard of Captain D's. Is it also a seafood fast food?
It is, and they kind of present it as maybe slightly higher end than a Long John's, but I've been in a Long John's once or twice, and no, I don't need to go any higher end if it's still fast food for seafood.
That's really, really funny. What's the other seafood chain? It's for the seafood lover and you.
Oh, yeah. What was that? There was another one.
Yeah, and I read something. Is it? Red Lobster. Red Lobster.
Oh, yeah.
And Very, very big with basketball players. They love Red Lobster.
Sure, those cheesy biscuits are beloved.
By the way, there's another, and I don't even know if this chain is still around. It was called Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, and it was an English version of Long John Silver's. Never tried it.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That one I think you still see in malls. Like you can see maybe an Arthur Treacher's in the food court. But I don't think I've seen a freestanding Arthur Treacher's before.
Here is Kevin in Delaware. What's a fast food place that you never even let yourself try yet?
Yo, you've made the run down 95 down to Florida before, right?
Yeah.
The freaking Bojangles chicken places all over 95 down by Virginia and down south of there.
I've never been to one. Have you, Gail?
I think I have once or twice been to a Bojangles. It's not great.
No, I don't know Bojangles.
But I see why somebody wouldn't want to do it.
Murray, what do you got for us?
Hey, McDonald's is one of mine.
You've never tried a McDonald's?
No, I try not to go into it, but particularly the McRib. I don't understand that.
Well, it's just, it's a rib type thing.
Yeah, and
All
instead
right,
of
so
bones.
they don't understand what we're saying here, our phone screeners. This is one that you've never even tried.
You won't even do it.
You just haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
I've so far have come up with 3 that I haven't done now that I know that Bojangles is out there. Jules, what is the fast food place that you're afraid to try?
I've never eaten at a Wendy's. There was something about the square meat patty that always freaked me out.
I know people that swear by Wendy's.
Oh, yeah.
And some people will put Wendy's against Five Guys and say that they prefer Wendy's burger. My problem with Wendy's is I can't have a shake that I can't suck through a straw.
See, that's the only thing I like at a Wendy's, which is a Frosty.
It's an ice cream. It's not a shake, though.
And the fries, to me, are not good enough to stand on their own. So you have to have a Frosty combo for dipping.
They go thicker,
yeah,
thicker fries.
I've always seen people that dip their fries in the Frosty. I never got that either.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't do it.
Oh, I've done it.
Potato and ice cream don't belong together.
They truly do, though. Match made in heaven.
Here is Ryan. Ryan, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Whenever I used to go up to Lake Gaston, it was a very big lake up in Virginia. We had to take some kind of back roads up to there, and I'd always run across this place called Stuckey's, and it just looked like the worst place that you could possibly ever drop into.
That had the famous pecan log roll. Stuckey's was at one point the only thing that I believe that was in Florida. So they're still in Florida almost at every rest stop. And that's where you get like little plastic alligators and, postcards. There's the world famous pecan log roll.
It's disgusting.
They say it leaves the same way it came in.
Yeah.
The pecan log roll.
I believe it does.
Yeah. They would always have the famous food and gas, next exit. And then the joke would always be, it's true, you get food and gas.
Both together.
Stuckey's. Food and gas. Dave in Boston.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
I've never been to a Roy Rogers before. And I think it has something to do with the name. The name just sounds really...
Well, it's
gross.
a name that you think of with a horse. I remember when I was little thinking that they were good, but they still run along the turnpikes there.
I have only had Roy Rogers on a road trip.
Yeah.
And I always do the Gold Rush, the chicken sandwich with bacon and honey.
I have my own theory that chicken doesn't make a good sandwich. It should be eaten, it should be eaten as an entree itself.
What about Chick-fil-A? I mean,
I'm not that anti-gay, so I can't eat there.
I'm pro chicken sandwich, though.
So you pick those over gays?
I don't pick them over gays, but if I had never had to make that commitment because they don't have them in New York, and they used to have them in the South. However, I would walk into a Chick-fil-A and have a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
There's one in NYU.
That's the only time I got to do it. I snuck into NYU and pretended to be a student.
And how was it?
Delicious. Same as ever.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Never open on Sundays because of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Tim.
Hey guys, I'm from the East Coast, so we never had them where I was from. But when I used to live in California, Jack in the Box, I got freaked out from I think it was an E. coli scare back when I was a kid, and never would step foot in there again.
I've eaten Jack in the Box.
Yeah, I have only once.
Late at night.
That's when it's best.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any other time. Although I remember waking up feeling like maybe someone had shot me. Blowhard, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, pal. I remember driving down 95 back in the day, and we always had to stop at the Stuckey's on the way to Florida to get that nut log.
Yeah, it was
I
already
used to
big.
buy like 5 of them, and I would just sit, my family was in the other room or out. I would just go smoke a joint, and it was the greatest munchie ever. It would kill your stomach the next day. But when it comes to fast food, what I'm repulsed by is Subway.
Subway is beloved around the country,
too. There every day, and it looked like an air sandwich. There was really no substance to it. They would just stack it with a lot of iceberg lettuce. There wasn't really a lot of meat, and the bread didn't even look like real bread.
They bake the bread right there. It's kind of hot dog.
And,
but it amazes me that Subway has made inroads at places that have their own good sandwiches.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I live in Brooklyn. I go get a Hero somewhere, or down in Philly, you can get a hoagie.
Not even more.
But now you got to go for this crap, and I know people who eat that, but you mentioned Roy Rogers. There used to be a Roy Rogers on Broadway in Manhattan over on 54th Street, and they had what they call a fixins bar.
Ugh.
And it had all the, lettuce, tomato, and they would just let homeless people come in and just put their hands through all the vegetables and all the toppings for your burger. And every time I'd go in there, I'd just grab there was a Dunkin' Donuts in there. I'd get a coffee, and I'd see homeless people just eating out of the fixins bar, and they never chased them away. And
Can I tell you something? That would be Dan's funniest sketch on SNL in history. Thanks, Blowhard. Oh, it was so funny. The homeless people were eating out of Fixin's bar. We got them. Finally, someone's made fun of the homeless. Matt in Kentucky. Matt.
Hey, what's going on? Bob Evans has got to be number one. I will never stop.
I've eaten breakfast at a Bob
Me
Evans,
too, yeah.
but I don't know who Bob is or why there's a restaurant.
No.
I've never had any curiosity, Like with Wendy's, I figured out that she was the child of the owner. But Bob Evans, it just seems like a guy that it would be your insurance agent.
Oh, you know Bob Evans.
Oh, he's great.
I love Bob.
Let's go over here to our buddy Scott. Hey, Scott, what's up?
Hey, driving down to Lake Florida when I was a kid with my family up from Canada, one place that we would never stop just because my father never wanted to stop there was Waffle House.
Waffle House, I would always say, is pretty good hangover food. There's a greasiness that will help you with a hangover.
It's a cure, but should not probably be used outside of that.
No, I have never had it. No, any other thing. And I remember Waffle House would always be 24-hour breakfast.
Yes.
So I would say I've never, the only times I've eaten there is 3 a.m. to maybe an 11 a.m. late wake up. Like eat it before I went to sleep and then wake up, hair of the dog, another Waffle House. Very big in the South. Mike in Jersey.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Ron?
Good.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, you brought up earlier Geno's. Do you remember when Muhammad Ali did commercials and they had a competing sandwich with the Whopper or something like that in Big Mac?
No, I don't remember. Muhammad Ali for Geno's?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, well, anyway, I want to go into a Popeyes.
Never been to a Popeyes. That's one I've never been to.
There was one near my high school, so that was one of those.
How was it?
At a certain age, you could withstand probably eating there, but I have never eaten there as an adult. So my child, being like 15, 16 years old, I was like, oh yeah, let's go to Popeyes.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I could not do that right now.
I've never been to Popeyes. I don't get that far uptown, so I don't exactly know what a Popeyes is like. So we were talking about the fact most of the stuff that you can only really eat and handle as a child to perhaps young drunk adult. After that, it gets to be a problem. Look who it is. He's down at the shore. He's crabbing right now. He's going out on the boardwalk. It's our own Hard Rock Johnny.
Very nice. How's the crabs doing today?
They running?
Where do you think the lead from the missing daughter came from? She was crabbing.
Was she close to where you go?
Barnegat? Yeah, that's it's 10, 15 minutes.
Wait, you're that close to Barnegat?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Do they still make you pay to get on the beach at Barnegat?
Yeah, all the beaches down there, but it's like a minimal, like $3-4.
I just don't want to stop and I also don't want to pin something on myself while I'm walking
Yeah.
on the beach.
It's all wristbands now, so it's...
Yeah, that feels good in the water, doesn't it? A wristband?
It always does. It's always nice to have a nice, sharp wristband on. And that's
Beaches should be free. They're from the Lord.
One of my favorite beach moments ever was watching Eddie Trunk try to dodge the guy who tries to see if you have a wristband on or not down in Lavalette a couple years ago. Like he didn't want to pay the $4 to go on the beach.
Well-
So every time the guy would come around, he'd dodge him.
Well, when you're a TV star, you're used to being treated nice.
Sure.
Now, let's try to see if we can guess, because it's not up here, what Hard Rock Johnny has never tried. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say he's never been to Sizzler. Gail?
I bet it's going to be something pizza related, like a Papa John's or something.
Okay, Papa John's.
I feel like he's never been to Sonic.
KFC.
All right, Johnny.
All right, I've been to a Sizzler when I was in college.
Damn, I'm out. And did you have the steak? Steak and shrimp?
Wonderful. It was delicious.
Did you know it was steak?
Yeah, no, it was more leathery.
Yeah.
I've had a Papa John's pizza.
Oh, we're both out.
We're out.
Sonic was on my list of. I've had a drink from there. I don't know if that counts.
It does.
That counts.
It does.
Okay.
Because they're known for their drinks.
That's their
right?
thing.
Their Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And what was the fourth one? KFC. I mean, come on, KFC.
Yeah, that's
of course,
stupid.
who hasn't
Yeah,
been
it's
to KFC?
Joe.
You're right.
I'm going to go with Checkers Drive-In.
Oh,
good.
Now, not only that, but where Gail was born is like their home headquarters. And they would there was a place there that they make the Checkers restaurants, right? Then they put them on a flatbed truck and drive them to the place.
They're all what?
Yeah, they're models. See if you can't find it online, just start tapping. But you would see this place, and it would just be acres of Checkers. And you're like, man, they must be doing good. They're building a lot of Checkers over there.
I know, Johnny, you don't know what you're missing. Checkers is great. The fries. Phew,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
all
not a
about
big
those.
Checkers fan.
Love Checkers. They have one in Brooklyn, by the way.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Never tried it. I've driven by one. There's one near me.
Isn't it amazing how many hamburger fucking stands there are and how few hot dog stands?
Yeah.
When people act like, when you're at a pool, you're like, hot dog or hamburger? What do you want? Hot dog or hamburger, backyard. But no one ever says that in real life.
Yeah. You're
There's
not
never
like,
been a famous, thing where a hot dog is taken off across the country.
it seems crazy.
Yeah.
That should be a total standard. It's a handheld food too.
Right.
And through a drive-through, you're on a road trip.
Yeah.
Hot dog would be very easy to deal with in the car. Easier than a burger even.
Yeah, but I think it's because babies choke on it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give out food that babies choke on.
Why can they chew everything else but a hot dog? They don't
They
understand.
can't chew a hot dog. They're fucking stupid.
Maybe on the kids menu, little doggy bites or something. Little cut up hot dog.
Yeah, because they'll find their way to a big fucking dog though and start swallowing it. I'll just always hand a baby a foot long ago. I bet you can't even finish this without choking.
Don't chew.
That could be a game show that we do. How many bites before the baby chokes? And it'll be just different foods. I'm going to go 7 bites.
I don't think that baby's going to make 5 bites.
I don't think I could eat a whole foot long anymore. It's kind of sad.
Is that right? Well, because of what happened to you, you had that terrible accident to your stomach.
Yes. Yeah, that stomach was ripped out.
By the way, I was talking to Fez last night. He's in total pain. But I said, do me a favor. And he says he's got to showcase his chest right now to let his scar air out. And he says he hates it because he doesn't like to walk around, as he says, topless. And he's only there with his sister and his niece, but he's really weirded out about it. So I am like, and I'm letting him get away with murder right now because he's in terrible pain. And the whole time that he's talking to you, you can tell that it hurts. I go, do me a favor, take a picture of that so I can see what your chest scar sounds. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. He goes, also, I'll show you the deep gouge that they gave me from my wrist to my elbow. So they cut here. He says deep to take out some fucking vein, and I'm like, oh, these are great for you.
Oh man,
Yeah.
did you get the pic?
No, I mean he's too
delirious.
They took an arm vein.
Yeah, they took an arm vein.
Really? Usually they do leg.
Well, yeah. When he went in, he's like, I'm so happy they're not going to do my leg. They say they can do everything they want in the chest. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then I just found out last night, after all this time, they took out an arm vein.
They went for the arm instead.
Yeah. So that arm isn't working at all anymore. It's just dangling next to us.
Oh no!
He says,
dead arm.
They must have gutted everything out of there. Nerves, bone, everything.
Muscles, tendons. He's got a floppy arm.
It's just a shell.
Yeah, well, they're going to fill it with some chicken and cheese and make it into like a fun sandwich for Gail.
You can go crabbing with it.
Come on, Johnny. Enough
Stick
of
it
your
in the
son.
water, let the crab bite it, pull it out. It's perfect.
When are you going down this week, Johnny?
Tomorrow night.
All right. When
I'll be crabbing Friday. I'll give you a call when I'm crabbing on Friday.
Yeah, give me a call when you crab and give me another call when you're walking the boardwalk, you know?
I could do both of those.
South Jersey makes a big thing about the waffle ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it gets the same play in North Jersey. Hot waffle with ice cream in between it. It's summer tasting to me.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in Maryland, their biggest thing, and everybody in D.C. talks about it, boardwalk fries. Got to get boardwalk fries. They just walk around like they're English people, just eating fries and nothing else.
Yeah.
Do they put the malt vinegar on them down there?
Yeah, I believe they do. I don't like vinegar on my fries, though. I like the taste of potato,
Yes.
not vinegar.
I had really great boardwalk fries in Wildwood, New Jersey, but the thing that I thought was the best was this place called Polish, which is kind of like an icy, like ice cream kind of combination situation. It was like an Italian ice, but then they also have like the cream ices. So it's not really an ice cream. It's like a creamier ice version. Mind blowing.
Where's this at?
Down in Jersey Shore. It's called Polish, something Polish. It's
So you're
damn
talking
good.
about Wildwood.
Yeah, Wildwood is where I got them. But yeah, they're phenomenal. And the best is if you combine the two. Like I did in like an orange and then like vanilla creamsicle.
Hey, made a nice creamsicle for yourself.
Oh my God.
Chris, you got any pictures of this?
You got to get the Polish.
Come on.
The Polish?
It's just called the Polish?
I think it's just called Polish or something like that.
I'd like a Polish, please. Large.
They just bring out a little Polish girl for you to start making out with. She's new
Look
to
up
this country.
Wildwood.
She's looking for a husband.
Wildwood, New Jersey.
Why aren't you doing
Polish.
Wildwood? You just
Wildwood, New Jersey,
Yes,
Polish.
Polish is going to get other
Poland.
things. I think it's Polish.
Maybe it was Polish.
I wasn't supposed to be eating that.
Wait,
TLC's Polish?
There it is.
So if Chris didn't take so long, we never would accuse you of lying.
Mind blowing. See the swirl there? The
I've
swirl
never
action?
had this before, and I don't think I'd like it.
No, you would. It's
First of all, I'm not going to walk past the water ice to eat something else.
There's
That's
water
insane.
ice there.
There is?
Yes,
it
it's like
good,
an
though?
Italian ice, and then the cream ices, and then you can combine the two of them
That
if you
sounds
so
like
choose.
crazy.
It's so good.
All right, Brendan wants to bring up something in Arizona. Brendan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, you were talking about there's no hot dog places, and I know of two in the Midwest, like Kansas, Oklahoma. One was hot dog on a stick, and that might not be a fast food place. That might only be in shopping malls. The other one is Dog and Shake, and to my knowledge, neither one of them serve hamburgers, just hot dogs.
I never even heard of these places.
Well, I mean, if they exist, then they should be bigger. Hot dogs
Yeah.
should be doing business against hamburgers. That's what we're saying. Like,
Yeah,
we know
it's
Nathan's
just seemed-
exist.
Yeah, well, Nathan's never made it as a chain now.
Yeah.
It's the one Nathan's everybody likes. But when they put it in a train station, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to, what are the places that you just go and get 2 dogs and, papaya dogs.
Grace
Yeah,
Papaya,
Grace Papaya, for the kind New Yorkers, for the well-mannered New Yorkers.
Mhm.
And I will eat that.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
standing there.
Love papaya.
Also doesn't really sit well with you. That's
Yeah.
the thing, though. You don't feel bad after. Here's our friend Michelle. Michelle, what's up?
Well, a Five Guys hamburger has never passed my lips. People say how fabulous they are and how good the French fries are. I have never had a Five Guys burger.
Is there a reason?
Yes, because where I live, when I walk in and see the people that work there, I wouldn't let them sell me a bottle of water. So I know that Five Guys, they're even in London now, and I think I heard they were in Dubai. But I have to say bye-bye to Five Guys just because of the people that work in the area where I
First of all, I don't think any chain in recent years has taken off. But about, I guess, 12 years ago, we used to go to the original one and
Alexandria.
drive to get to the original one. And then I was actually at a meeting because we started to do spots as they were planning this chain. And I'm like, man, what a dumb idea. There's so many burger places out there. These nice people. And they were lovely people.
Yeah. Took off.
Just blew
They have
up.
a great dog there too. I like their griddle. They have the griddle dog.
I would never eat a dog at a burger place.
Yeah.
It's burgers and fries and hot dogs. They have a little bit of each.
But I was actually concerned when I found out Five Guys was going chain. I was like, I don't need access to Five Guys all the time. It's a treat for me. I'm terrified about the ability to get Five Guys whenever I want it.
I've eaten at other places and it's never tasted as good as to me as the original place.
Yeah, the original was great. But if I had to choose between, let's say, a Five Guys and getting like a McDonald's cheeseburger, I'd definitely go for a chain.
Oh, that's
Five
not.
Guys.
Yeah, it's not even worth talking about. But I remember at the original place, like guys would come back like from Iraq and go there before they went to see their mother.
Yeah.
That's how much people loved that original place. They were crazy for it. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, we had a chain, Kenny Rogers rotisserie that opened up outside of New Orleans. And it was in like an urban area. A buddy of mine, I never went in there or would go in there. My buddy worked there. And he said that people would come in and ask for the rotisserie chicken. And I thought that
It's really, really funny. I'll say I've never eaten at a Kenny Rogers.
Nope, never done it.
As much as I've actually enjoyed his lovely work. Cam in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm leery about any shitty Chinese place, so Panda Express has
Never tried a Panda Express.
I've had a Panda Express in a mall when I was young. It's not good, and isn't just most cheap Chinese food, isn't that lowbrow enough? Like you don't need less quality than you're already willing to
But
go
you know
for.
what ruined it for me is Blue Apron, where you can make your own Chinese food at home. And I'm like, because if you go out to a nice restaurant and you get Chinese food, it's fabulous.
Yeah, it's super good.
And then the other Chinese food that you get, where you normally just hit it with the sauces, and you're just really just drinking the sauces with some rice around it, you'll be ruined for that forever.
Yeah.
Blue Apron has ruined me for a lot of fucking food. It really has. Because I won't go and eat bad again.
Well, the other thing that Blue Apron does is that there's food that you only exclusively would have got either takeout or going to another restaurant. Like Indian, I'll go out to get Indian, but I never cooked Indian before.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Johnny won't do it though because not everything's a crab dish. I heard you had my mom's crab cakes the other day. How
Oh
were
my
they?
God. Are you kidding me? They were insane. Like, and this is not an exaggeration. I know everybody says, like, my mom makes the best this or my grandma has. I'm telling you, my grandmother, hands down, best crab cakes in the world. They were phenomenal.
You know why she made them? Because Jack.
I know. She was like, he loves them.
Yeah.
And she likes a good eater.
Yeah, she does.
And he goes over very well with them because he's like, Yes, I will have seconds and thirds.
I know it looks bad for most people to say this, but I will eat more. I'm at the stuffing part of my meal right now. Where I like to stuff it in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that they were very happy with the amount that was eaten.
Yes. We showed up.
How are their garden tomatoes?
So good. Crazy good. We had amazing tomatoes. We had homemade zucchini bread, which was from her zucchini from the garden. That was phenomenal. She also did cherry tomatoes this year, so I brought home like a big bag of cherry tomatoes. Everything was...
What about the corn?
Oh my God. First of all, I think that's like the coolest thing in the world, that they're growing corn now.
They only did it to make a wall between them and their neighbors.
I know. And it looks great. And they're just excited because they're like, and it's going to look so great in the fall. It's going to be like decoration. It's going to look like fall decoration because the way they look when they dry out. Yeah. But it was great. It was really good. Like we cut corn right off the stalk and put it in, and it was like really good Maryland sweet corn.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's so great that they can do it. And even though neither one of them has felt well this year, they still keep the garden going.
They have kept it going.
Johnny, we got to bring a guest in, so that means you're out.
I'm out.
Sorry,
I will call you from the crab action on Friday.
All right. Talk to you on Friday then. Friday
Later,
morning.
boys and girls.
Peace. Love Hard Rock, Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't
Good old
work
buddy.
hard, but
he plays hard.
He should be called not hard at work. Stupid. Chris, who do we have here?
We have Dan Powell coming in. Dan's the Emmy-nominated co-creator and executive producer of Inside Amy Schumer. The third season of Inside Amy Schumer is going to be available on DVD in November.
Man, what a year these guys had. What a series this has been for them. Really, really exciting to see this all blow up.
And it's part of the Innovators of Entertainment, which is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka, distilled 6 times from 100% corn and naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com.
Do we break or bring Dan in?
We can bring Dan in right now.
Let's bring in Mr. Dan Powell from Amy Schumer Show. Dan Powell in with us. He is the co-creator and executive producer of Inside Amy Schumer. What a success story that has been, and what a season you guys had last year. The Emmy nominations are all over this year.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. It was a good season. It was a fun one.
This is the year I think that the Emmys are going to catch up with everything that's happening. I think you guys are going to be walking up on stage time and time again this year.
Well, knock on wood. I think we have a good chance. We are up against many, many good shows in the show category. Key and Peele is an outstanding program, and SNL I think is always going to be a contender. Portlandia is great, and then we're in the writing side. We're up against. We're not just up against sketch shows, we're up against all the late night shows as well. So John Oliver's show is very good. The Colbert Report had their final season.
Nobody's as consistent as you guys. You guys are phenomenally consistent. We were talking about that, Gail and I, not too long ago. We're like, this show, you never hit that point where you're like a little uncomfortable watching the show. The show is really, really funny. And I think, when I remember when it first came on, I'm like, what are they going to interviews? Is this a man on the show? I felt like I hadn't seen anything like it. And now I'm so comfortable that the show can be whatever it is that second.
Yeah, no, we really built the show when we were first starting around Amy's strengths. And, I used to be an exec at Comedy Central, and Amy had done this sort of web series for us that never even saw the light of day. I think she shot it while we were still making the deal, and then the deal fell through. But it was a man on the street thing where she was going around interviewing people, and I just remembered how good she was at that and how strong she is off the cuff, and she's the most effortlessly funny person I've ever met. Just someone who does not have to really warm up or turn it on or anything, or you know what I mean?
Right.
She is just effortlessly funny all the time and so quick on her feet. So, it was we very much knew at the beginning, this has to be part of the show in some capacity.
Well, what I think about works with the street stuff too is she's never taking down the person that she's interviewing, you know? It's normally about the concept or whatever they're talking about, and they share that, which is, by the way, the hardest thing in the world to do is not to go directly into like Richard Belzer insult comedy when you're doing that kind of crowd work.
She seems to let them be funny too. Like she spends a lot of those time laughing at things that they say, which I think is pretty cool. If you were a person who were stopped on the street and then you have this moment on television where you make Amy Schumer laugh, I think that's...
some of my favorite parts are when people on the street crack her up. There was this guy that we interviewed this past season, and he shows up a couple times throughout the season, named Jim, and he was just this sort of like lovable sad sack who had all these like ridiculously embarrassing stories, but he was super candid about them. And he made Amy laugh so hard. We had to edit out a lot of her laughing. And we liked the guy so much, we invited him to our, we all followed him on Twitter. We were like his 14th, 15th, and 16th followers. And we invited him to our premiere, and he didn't respond. I'm concerned he thought we were making fun of him, but we just wanted to hang out with the guy who's so much fun. But yeah, no, she's really good at making people feel comfortable. And even in, the sit down interviews we do, the Amy Goes Deep segments, the intention is not to be gotcha interviews or anything like that. Even the interview we did with Ashley, the Ashley Madison, founder, Noel Biederman, people were like, oh, Amy really finally stuck it to that guy. But that was not at all the intention. She was curious about the site and had no judgments. And she told him a number of times, like, look, there are no judgments here. I'm not coming after you like almost every other interviewer that you've ever had. But his sort of default mode was being really defensive and really, he just assumed she was on the attack. He's done a billion of those.
He's done those things where he has to defend whatever he's doing. But the show this year, those interviews, you had open relationships. Was this the year the transsexual? It was the pre-Caitlyn, or was that last year?
No, that was this season.
The Bailey J, the transgender woman, was the first episode of this season.
And Bailey J, by the way, loved by tons of straight men. I know so many straight men who are like, hey, if I had to be, it would be Bill. And I go, who asked you? There's no reason for you to bring this up.
Yeah, I think she came to our attention because she's pals with Norton and Kurt Metzger, who's one of our writers, who was also one of the interviews we did.
Metzger and his chick came on, and they were, seriously, it was like hanging out with them. They were so matter of fact and fun about it. Which is, again, this should not work in a sketch variety show. It's always what amazes me about that is that you guys blew doing the normal variety show and invented your own. The variety show has been around forever. The sketch show has been around forever. You're not supposed to do these things.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that links it all together and the reason that, I think we were in the middle of shooting the first season and Amy said something along the lines of, I feel like between, all the sketches we were shooting and her stand-up and the man on the street and the sit-down interviews, she said, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed with all the different elements of the show.
Yeah, there's a lot, man.
Yeah, and which I get, especially since it's all on her to act in every scene and then do the man on the street stuff off the cuff and develop the stand-up and then sit down and prepare and do these half-hour interviews. So I get, I totally understood her concern, but I think, once it's cut down to 22 minutes within an episode and the fact that it's her linking it all together, I think, look, if it was an ensemble cast like SNL or something like that, I don't think all of these different elements would necessarily work. I think they work because her point of view is linking all of them together, and also because she's so good at every element. She's an incredible actor. She's obviously great off the cuff as an interviewer, which is one of the reasons why I think she was in strong contention for The Daily Show. And she's obviously one of the best stand-ups alive right now. So just, it is a little bit absurd that we do try to pack in all those different elements into the show, but when she's that good at that many things, what else can you do?
It's hard to believe. I did a 1 hour special with her in front of an audience unmasked, and it was just a couple years ago when the show was starting. And if you go back and listen to it, she's like, well, if this doesn't work out, I always have stand up, and it's nice if this happens, but really, and you think in that short time, within that quick, she was like, oh, a nice young person who was getting a break to a household name, movie star. The whole thing happened so fast.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of since we started doing the show, she hired me in late 2011. And I'd known her since 2008. We worked on a reality show together. And obviously back then she was just a contestant on, she'd done Last Comic Standing, and now she was sort of slumming it on this like summer reality show for Comedy Central. But everyone knew at the time. In fact, Doug Herzog, who now runs MTV and the entire MTV Entertainment Group, walked into my office after seeing one of the early cuts and singled her out specifically and saying like, we have to keep an eye on her. And then, but yeah, from the time we started working on the pilot through now, it has been probably one of the most sort of incredible ascents, you know, of a star, certainly in comedy that I've ever seen.
You're actually friends with a movie star now, like literally friends with the movie star. How many people even get to say that? But the other thing is there's some people, it's one thing to be born with talent, but to be able to work it, it's hard.
Yeah. The one thing about Amy is, and you hear Kevin Hart say this, and I saw Mindy Kaling mention it in an article, is that like, Amy works her ass off. And in terms of the show, I mean, she is not just the star of the show, but she's an executive producer and a writer, probably the most prolific writer on the show. So, and she's in the room for the entire writing process. She is hands-on in the edit. There's not a frame of this show that goes on TV without her weighing in and signing off on it. So, it's, and that is a tremendous amount of work, especially when she's developing any stand-up for the show on her own, usually at the same time developing stand-up for a separate special. She was working on the movie, she was working on Trainwreck all through our second season, like writing that concurrently with our second season. And, and then of course she tours and, is doing them all through our writing period. Typically we'd send the writers to drafts on Friday because she'd be getting on a plane to go spend a weekend doing stand-up somewhere. She's the hardest worker I think I've ever met.
Well, you also, and I don't know whether everyone gets that, but she's also moved herself into target place now, whether it's for entertainment press or political press. Right. And I'll pick up like the New York Post and they're like, well, she's not really a feminist. She shouldn't be able to say that she's a feminist because and you're like, oh yeah, that's stuff that she never had to deal with as a stand-up before. Anyone can say anything now.
She's certainly under a lot more scrutiny than she was when we first started, and we do have to sort of, as a result, put a little bit more thought into like, what are the repercussions of this sketch if there is some sort of message in it and that sort of thing. But I will say, on the other hand, like Amy is pretty fearless, as you could tell from the press conference she did with Senator Schumer. Like coming out in this day and age, in support of gun control and against, even just common sense gun reforms. The right-wing gun lobby is so vocal and so sort of virulent that like you're just inviting, especially as a public figure, like she knew she was going to get death threats. She went and did it anyway. Because she stands behind her convictions and she's just fearless. And that makes it very fun to work with her.
Well, most, like we said, most comics never have to think. You brought up Norton. He can say a lot of things because he doesn't have to worry about the New York Times watching him constantly or on the other, or the Journal, no matter. So when you move into that area where you said like, where you would say things that would be jokes or just an opinion. Some of us have opinions that half the people may disagree with. It does change the way that you work,
Yeah, fame and that level of scrutiny certainly, definitely changes the way that, you have to put more thought into like, and, any sort of tweet or any Facebook post or anything you do, because who knows what, all of a sudden it's being looked at and scrutinized by millions of people. You can tweet something and all of a sudden there are like 17 blog posts about it,
Yeah.
That's the era that we're living in. So,
and also at the same time that you guys are doing all this stuff, you still have this viral video campaign. Some of the sketches last year even rolled out before the show. I think I saw Milk Lemonade before it got on TV. And then when it got on TV, it just felt like a band had came out and did the song on the radio. And I'm like, God, everything changes so fast now. It's gotten so odd like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was sort of our trailer for the season. Cause we had decided early on, Amy had decided early on that, this is the year of the ass, and she wanted, there was so much like ass fascination at the time, and Amy really wanted to make fun of it. So, we, in addition to being just a hilarious, 3-minute sketch on its own and having Amber Rose and Method Man, it also felt like sort of a thesis for the entire season. And so we leaked it, a couple weeks in advance of air just to get people excited about the season. But typically we'd leak like one of the sketches in an episode in full a few days before the episode aired.
And, this is something no one would have done 5 year ago, 10 years ago. It would have been insane to let your material get out,
Yeah, there's always the concern, like, look, if we release the whole thing, are people still going to want to see it? Especially since that was the first, we leaked it and it wasn't like it was 3/4 of the way through the episode. Right. It was the first sketch in the episode. So, there's always that concern of, are people just going to change the channel because they've already seen this online, and is that going to hurt our ratings? But, at this point, it just feels like getting the good material out there is going to lift, the ratings regardless. And people are going to, if it's very funny, people are going to want to see it again,
And it seems like that's what people want. Like, it almost seems like they would be less likely to show up, and watch your show or whatever if they haven't been teased with it. Something that they can pass around. Right. That's the only way.
But there's no one to get advice from on this. It's like you can't go back to the folks that ran the Cower Burnett show and said, how did you used to deal with this? Because it's a different.
Yeah, the landscape is changing. Yeah. Look, as the producers of the show, and Amy and Jesse and myself, like, we just want what we've worked on to be seen by the most people. And the platform necessarily doesn't really, if someone sees it on YouTube versus seeing it on television, well, they've seen it. That's what we care about. Of course, for Comedy Central, they're a company, they're Viacom.
Sure.
Like, the bottom line is extremely important. And to them, someone watching it on TV is far more valuable still than them watching it online, because that's where the vast majority of their revenue comes from. So look, for us, we look at it like, this is just a way for more people to see our stuff, having it on YouTube, having it on ComedyCentral.com, or even on iTunes. But for Comedy Central, it's still a means to an end of getting people to watch it on television, because that's where the money gets.
They're in the television business. Yeah. Everyone else is like, hey, we're getting eyeballs. They're like, yeah, but we're also selling soda. That's why we do a show.
They're in a tough position because, obviously viewership, cable viewership on TV is declining, and millennials are like cutting the cable and they're watching more stuff online. But still, the way that they make money is 5 or 6 years behind the way people are watching TV. It's still predominantly based on ad sales rates that are based on like Nielsen ratings, and so they're they recognize that the landscape is changing and they're trying to program more for online platforms, but they still need to have the money to pay for that programming, and it comes from ad sales rates. So they're in a tough position, but I think they're handling it pretty well.
You guys got nominated for 12 Angry Men this year, which was really, we sit around and talk about how the show kind of broke all the variety rules. Then you take a show where you just turn it over to one single idea. And if it doesn't work within the first minute, 2 minutes, if you haven't pulled us in where we're going, this is something great, you could have, as they used to say, jumped the shark. That was a risky moment for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like a high risk, high reward thing. I've got to give all the credit in the world to Amy. That was her baby. It was her idea. I think Kevin Kane, who's one of our producers, sort of, kind of gave her the seed of the idea of maybe let's do it as a full episode, because she had thought about doing it as like a longer sketch. But, Amy tackled the predominant number of drafts. That really is her baby. And like you said, it's risky because that's not something that we can chop up and put up on YouTube or something like that, because it really works as a 19-minute, it's based on a play. It works as a 19-minute piece. And so, look, there are little segments that you can take out and look at and laugh at individually, but really, like, for it to have its full effect, you need to watch the entire thing. And so, yeah, it does become sort of, even though all these other sketches we had great viral success, that was one where it had a lot of tremendous like critical acclaim and a lot of eyes on it, but almost all of it had to be off the television as opposed to.
Well, you're also, we're talking about millennials, and you're doing a parody of like a 1957 black and white.
Yeah.
You're asking for them. That's really, when you think of that kind of parody, you got to almost go back to Sid Caesar, you know what I mean, when they would really get involved in something that deep. And the weird thing about that was, I don't know, the acting or whatever was so dead on that you could have really watched it like a movie.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I could have sat through way more of that. It was incredible, and I think that not only was it bold because it was out of the typical style of the show, but also it says a lot that Amy's stepping back and letting these guys take center stage, and she's barely in it. I mean, it was really highlighting their talents.
Yeah,
in
it's
a lot of
funny.
ways.
The networks, when we first started talking to the network about doing this, the network's concern wasn't, all right, you're going to have a 19-minute sketch, or it's going to be in black and white and it's going to be slower. You know, their main concern was, you know, where is Amy going to be in this episode? And we shot a bunch of Man on the Street that was tailored specifically towards the 12 Angry Men sketch, with the thought that, look, if we're really finding that Amy is missing throughout the episode, we can pepper it in before and after commercials.
Yeah.
And then in the edit, it just became clear if we did that, it's just breaking up the momentum of the piece. It's going to take you out of it. We did end up using it. We used it as a sort of 2-minute montage in the fourth act after the sketch is over, which I think worked really well, because then it felt sort of like a little coda, a little tag on the episode. You got to see Amy talking about the subject matter. And, which again, you know, the subject, that is another example of Amy taking something that she has to deal with now as a comedian who's very much in the spotlight, where, especially as a female comedian, so much of the, you know, comments on Twitter and YouTube and what have you are, you know, directed at her appearance, which is something that male comedians typically don't have to deal with. But instead of, you know, Amy took that and transformed it into art, and not just art, but I think one of the most sort of transcendent comedy pieces of the last 10 years.
Well, one of the things that I loved, and it could have blown up, you have these great actors next to New York comics. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the comics were amazing.
Yeah, DePaulo is incredible in that.
DePaulo, I'm actually watching, and I'm like, he could be in any movie. He was great. Chris Gethard was amazing.
Chris was great, yeah.
And you're next to, you know, John Hawke, who's like one of the best actors of his, or Paul Giamatti. I mean, it was crazy how those guys raised their game for that.
I honestly feel like you could have taken that exact same cast and put them in the actual play, 12 Angry Men on Broadway, and that, like, if you put a show on Broadway with, like, Goldblum, Giamatti, and Hawks, like, you know, and Kartheiser, people are going to buy you know, that's going to sell out.
But did you think to yourself, all right, now that we've got those guys, can Nick DiPaolo raise his game up to this, or did you guys feel
Nick
confident?
won that part at a table read.
Is that right, man?
Nick, Amy invited Nick to do it at, Amy has a theater group with our producer Kevin Kane called The Collective that she's been in for years. And The Collective is, if you saw the group, you'd be like, oh, I recognize all of these actors from like numerous Inside Amy Schumer sketches, because we use them all the time. Because strong acting, you know, in addition to being funny, strong acting is really important to Amy, who herself is a trained actor and went to Esper Studio. But one of the things that we do with the show that really Kevin heads up is all of the sketches are workshopped with actors. Usually the actors that play them, but sometimes it's more just like for the writing and everything, at the Collective on Mondays before a shoot week.
That's so cool.
So, 12 Angry Men was brought in and done in full, like, you know, a long table with 12 seats. and Amy and her co-director Ryan McFall were there watching and taking notes, and I was there with Jesse. And, some of the people who ended up being in it were there. Most of it were just placeholder actors reading through it for writing purposes. But Nick DiPaolo played juror number 3, and he was so good that it just kind of became like we don't really necessarily see anyone else in the role. And
he was
won
tremendous
it.
He was so in that, good. Man. He was tremendous.
Can I tell you that when we actually offered it to him, his agent said, "Oh no, he's not available. He's on vacation." And we were like, tell him to reschedule the vacation. Do you understand what this is? You know, who else is in this?
I'm sure that he's gotten some real, you know, people interested in what else he can do from that too. Cause I remember yelling, holy shit, a couple times that night. And Gethard was just so, I mean, obviously he's done a lot more stuff, but I thought that he was so perfect
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
It was amazing how well that thing worked and stood up, and how, like, unlike a lot of stuff, like, you're real aware about at the time. Like, it had the feeling of you're watching at home where you're like, this is really cool. Can it sustain? You know what I mean? Like, you were really watching the tightrope part of that throughout.
Yeah, a lot of the casting was done sort of working backwards from the Lumet movie in terms of kind of matching the type of the actor who'd done it, and the actor who played juror number 2, which Gethard played, was the soft-spoken individual. I can't remember his name, but he was the voice of Piglet on Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
And so, we're like, who kind of matches that energy? And, Chris jumped out right away.
How quick are you looking at next season? When does that all start to...
I actually found out this morning we're going to start writing season 4 October 14th, the week after Amy hosts Saturday Night Live.
Wow, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Well, it should be a fun first day. Hear all the stories.
Hear all the stories and know that you guys are, what you've managed to do with this is really set up for, in my opinion, the first time in a long time that you could look at a variety show that you could say that the writing is surpassing what everybody else is doing. And it's one of the toughest things. If you watch that for a half hour, none of us at home have any idea of how much work goes into that, how much editing just to make something like that work.
It is a tremendous amount of work, but I have to say the team that we have is so much fun. And can I shout out a few people in terms of our team? I mean, our director, Ryan McFall, who directed our second season and our third season and co-directed 12 Angry Men with Amy. He's incredibly talented. And then our writer's room, our head writer, Jesse Klein, who's runs the show with me and Amy. Kim Caramelli is Amy's sister, and she's been a writer on the show. Kurt Metzger has been writing for us since day one. He wrote the 2 Girls, 1 Cup sketch that was in the pilot.
It was great.
Kyle Dunnigan, who's a great comic, writes for us. And then this past season, we had Tammy Sager of 30 Rock, John Glazer, came in and wrote for us, which felt like, Mickey Mantle coming down, coming on to play. And, our writer's assistant, Grace Edwards, chips in. And, through the years, we've had great people come in and out, like Gabe Liedman, Tig Notaro, Jeremy Byler, Neil Casey, Hallie Cantor, Emily Altman, just, a tremendous room full of very, very talented people. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple, but, it's been fun. Every season feels like sort of like the Justice League or the Avengers of comedy writers. A couple new people come in and out, but they're equally talented, and it's just so much fun to watch this room kind of operate and come up with the ideas for the show.
And, like we said, who knows, all you guys might be looking back at this years ago going, that was the funnest project, But when you see guys like Woody Allen and they're still looking back, despite everything they did, that early Salad Day stuff when they were writing for Caesar going, that was the time, and we were all there together. They couldn't afford us all together now. Because while you're doing this, we're talking about the writing, but you guys have been so kind and cool to bring in so many great New York comics that are, getting to do stuff that they wouldn't normally get to do. Congratulations to y'all, really. I'm glad that you're taking the victory lap, and I'm glad that you guys have also decided to keep the show going, too.
Yeah, no,
another season.
I'm excited to dive back in. It's a little terrifying because it feels like the season was sort of a benchmark season for us, and the question comes up like, can we top ourselves? But once we get back in the room and the ideas start getting tossed back and forth, I know we'll find very cool things to do, and it is one of those things. I worked on The Daily Show in 2002 through 2004. That was my first real TV production job. And it sort of spoiled me, when that's the first show you work on is The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and Colbert and Carell are like the correspondents. It's like, oh, I guess this is how TV is. And then, from 2004 through 2011, I worked on a number of shows, and some were good and some were bad, but none of them really had that sort of thing where, oh, you're riding a wave where you're this cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And this is the first show since The Daily Show that I've been on where it really feels like people are talking about it, and it's entered the sort of cultural consciousness. And
we wouldn't know Bridget if it wasn't for you guys.
That's true,
we're giant fans of hers now, and that's the type of thing that you're going back and talking about The Daily Show, that you're being able to take people that are known in some circles and mass appeal them.
Yeah, that's the other great thing about Amy. She runs in such a great, talented circle, and she's loyal to her friends. That's why you see Nikki Glazer and Rachel Feinstein on the show all the time, and Kurt Metzger, all, Norton, all these great, Florentine.
Yeah.
Colin Quinn was on her last season. She just has such a great circle of fellow comics and people, and she just likes to have fun people around her. So that's what, the set is always just a great place to be hanging out, because there are always incredibly funny people just hanging out and riffing,
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Dan. Dan Powell is the Emmy-nominated co-creator and executive producer of Inside Amy Schumer. Seasons 1 and 2 of Inside Amy Schumer available now on DVD, and the third season of Inside Amy Schumer available on DVD in November. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Continued success, and I'll see you again next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been the Innovators of Entertainment segment, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka, distilled 6 times from 100% corn and naturally gluten-free. Come visit us at titosvodka.com.
That's it for us, and we'll see you guys all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!
Bennington. Nothing will be the same ever again. Raw Dog 99, Sirius XM's Comedy Club.